Well, it's time for some podcasting. We hope you keep on listening. It's time for talking tremor shit. Womp, womp, wah. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am your host, Levi Dylan Burzloff, but you've heard enough from me for fucking 800 episodes. I am here with someone. I have no idea who this person is. I just know that they're awesome. Like how simple can that be? Just like Bob Ross themselves, just a happy little dreams. Happy little dreams. So right here I have a meme artist extraordinaire, Rossbob Irvinpants. Rossbob, how you doing?
I am doing excellent, and thank you for that introduction. Love the energy.
That's I love to open with a song, and that is a like day one of the show, like because I was watching the commentaries and like the movie starts and there's the fucking theme playing. I was like, well, I gotta like sing along to it, and then it just became like a whole like, well, okay, let's turn that into a song then too, and it's that's a day one feature, baby.
It's great energy. I love it.
I did warn you to watch the show beforehand, so that's like, I always tell people just because you never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, oh my God, thank you for being here. Sorry, I had to focus. I was sharing my socials, but thank you so much for being here, Ross.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I'm trying to set this up internally for like anybody watching because shit. I don't have it written down, but like when did you like come into the sphere of like the Tremors meme groups? Like I'm like trying to actually like put a date on it, like April-ish or something.
That very first meme that I posted, the one with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
The reason I posted that one was because like most of like the stuff I do is on Facebook because I've been using it for so long that's just like the social media that I'm most familiar with.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, exactly. And I follow a lot of groups that like tend to point out like nasty behavior like y'all's group had been going through.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Facebook group Woke Ass Culture Wagons. Shout out.
Yes. Oh, like, I am subscribed there. Hell yes.
Yeah.
With a good flout. I love a good flout.
Oh my goodness. Like that's one of the funniest things about being in the meme making world, like in the shit posting world, for anyone who's not familiar, because
the shit there's more to this world.
That's what's really, really funny about like the culture there is because I've talked to many of my shit posting friends about it that like run their own groups who post their own memes, and the general consensus is that it's a lot like if you were to mix like stand-up comedy, like graffiti artists, and perhaps politics as well. And so one of the things that I'd noticed was like I really like that group because it points out where people are getting frustrated about inclusive groups such as the Tremors Saga group. And so someone had posted that y'all were having just a massive bigot purge, and if there's one thing that Rossbob Irvinpants loves more than anything, it's roasting bigots, because
it's so fun.
Like I have a general rule, like bullying is okay in 3 circumstances: it's bigots, billionaires, and bootlickers. And it seems as though your group had plenty of those to go around. And
holy shit.
That comes with the culture of shitposting, I think, because like usually whenever people feel comfortable enough to just post rampant bigotry, it's because like groups will allow it, and people get the dopamine from the laughs and the angry reacts and this, that, and the other. And so yeah, like in my opinion, like if you don't counter that in some way, and it's kind of like somehow they win. If that makes
my God, yeah.
And I'm a sore loser in that regard. Like
I
Uh,
I sometimes criticize myself because I feel like my memes are too smart and they're like the people I want them to offend aren't getting offended enough. But I'm like, no, I will not water down like what how stupid I think you are. You are this stupid. I'm not going lower. Fuck you. No, no, no. Like we're doing. I will beat you from up here. Fuck you.
yeah, one of the things I've noticed is it's really, really easy to like we consider it bait posting. It's whenever you give like a hot take, or not even a hot take, really. It's more of a this is going to offend a certain
Yeah.
type of person. And so the best way to do it is simplicity. Like the best ones are whenever you just like post something that's, either just like inclusive in nature, or you're calling out someone for a specific behavior. And usually, like the old adage, like the dog that yelps is the one that got hit. That's
Oh.
that's my like general like rule of thumb when it comes to like if I'm feeling, saucy and want to like really get under some people's skin, is really just be
Too bad.
simple.
Fuck
That
that.
they can understand simple, but they can't handle the emotions that come with
Yeah.
like feeling attacked in some way.
I think my best ones are they're usually the simple ones because they can at least read them. But and just like most of the time, it's usually just something valid or gay, like in that group specifically. Like, and that's just such a simple like. Here, these are two men. Like you put them next to each other and just be like, honestly, you could just write the words "gay" on it, and they'd probably like that. I now that I'm thinking of it, I should just make a meme that's just the two of them with just the word like big gay
Yeah.
on it and just post it gay. And it does.
That's
It
actually
gets them. That's really.
so one of the things that I noticed, especially with the first movie, is before I had even started watching it, like what I kept hearing from people in the group who were being like defending the nature of like our LGBT cuties in the group, who were saying like Tremors itself is very queer coded.
It's
Like like it may not seem like that maybe in the 90s when the first one came out, because like it's speculative to say that
yeah.
Earl and Val like were hooking up or anything, but it's also not that far of a stretch to think that they were either, because
It's
they shared a trailer, they were always together.
this. There's a lot of this. They do this a lot. They do this a lot. So,
Yeah, like it's not unheard of to maybe they were doing a couple of double Dutch rudders or something.
it's not well, and that's where the simplicity of it is just like. And for me, it always started like I. That is not something I thought. Having like watched Tremors for like 30 years, that is a very recent thing for me, and it's only because of other people pointing it out. And I'm like, oh, I guess they could be gay, huh? I never thought
Yeah,
of that, but it's like it's kind of it just sits right there. You're like,
yeah.
oh, what? Okay, I guess yeah. Okay, I see that. Like,
See, that's how you combat, male loneliness.
right?
Like, just smooch your homie, like Earl and Val.
Like it gets cold out in the desert, and somebody has to make
Yeah,
breakfast in the morning.
yeah, and it's easy, and like all they have to do is just give cuddles. That's
Yeah.
it.
So that I got. So, do you think Valor are lovers? That is one of my questions here.
I wouldn't say that they were necessarily like in any sexual entanglements, like although that you could speculate that they had, but they definitely had like a semi-romantic relationship, because one, they lived together. As soon as one of them was done being in perfection, there was like, oh yeah, we should both go together to Bixby.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
typically in those kinds of relationships, you'll have like one person who's adamant about maybe staying, and the other one's like, oh come on, like we should get out of here. And usually there's like that conflict. And there was no conflict. They were both just done being in for perfection, and they packed up the truck together, they
Oh my
packed up
god.
all of their stuff
Oh my
together,
god.
including their joint mailbox.
That
And
little sign.
so yeah, just a little and so I would say that there was definitely, it could be speculated that they had a sexual like component
That's
to
why I
their
said
relationship.
lovers as a sense of like
Yeah,
because
like because
I
you
would.
can be
How do you
asexual and
define
still
that? Yeah.
romantic.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
I know plenty of ace people, plenty of demi people, and it stands to reason that they maybe had some form of like demi romantic style companionship.
For me, I always think that it's a polycule with Rhonda. When Rhonda comes in, that's how that actually works out. And she's in charge. They are the subs to her dom. That's all I get from that.
Honestly, fair, valid.
Yeah, and then, well, and then they bring, honestly, once Kate gets Earl and Tremors 2, then they become like a swingers club where they're all just passing each other like all the time.
Yeah, and even if like that isn't the case, like it definitely stands to reason that both of them could have been bisexual because like that's usually the argument that they're at least the arguments I've heard were no, they couldn't possibly be gay because they ended up with women. Like yeah, there've never been any gay or bi men who've, ended up with women.
Nope. What's a beard?
Never.
You have a lovely beard on your face. What's a beard? I don't know what a beard is.
Exactly. So it stands to reason that they could have at least been bi or pan, and they could have just easily have had like a romantic entanglement that they may have kept under wraps because they were in the middle of rural Nevada.
The whole town be fucking, not Melvin and Mindy, but they all, it's, orgy town out there. Wow. But the point, honestly, now that I see that was so easy. So we literally just walked to that conclusion. And if there's anybody that's bigoted watching this right now, I hope you hate comment. Like if you are, please just cause I can see it in my mind. Like, oh my God, that's a solid argument. Oh, it made me feel
You're
this.
just trying to pull straw mans.
Shit.
Even if none of that is true, even if the writer is like, no, they were just roommates, like that's speculative. Like art is subjective in that way. So yeah, you can believe 10 Ways to Sunday that they were absolutely straight. They had absolutely no romantic entanglement, but I can just as easily say, no, yeah, they were absolutely filling them bussies with beans out in the field in the back of their truck. And
Hold on.
my opinion is just as valid.
Go order No Breakfast by Ben Spore. I
saw that you posted that.
Saga's
It looked so funny.
Oh, the bussy. You said bussy, and my brain just used that one. Sorry.
I'm the one that should probably be apologizing.
No, that's fine. Oh, man. I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing I brought up on this show, and I don't. Shit. Ripping off my toenails. Maybe that's one. I don't know. What else we got? I did do a whole sex reading episode. That was fun. I did one as Linda Belcher. That was an all-timer. But no, nothing that we're good. We're good. That's nothing. That's nothing. So we were having so much fun. I forgot to we got to start at the very beginning. And this is my all-time favorite question on this show. Who are you?
I am Rossbob Irvinpants. My real name is Ross Irvin. But yeah, I'm a shit poster by day, propagandist by night, and no, just one of
my questions actually for later, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, I'm like sometimes I feel a little bit like One Punch Man because I got into shit posting for the fun of it, and that's along the theme of this episode because as it says is you don't need to watch Tremors to make Tremors memes. And yeah,
best Tremors memes, best ones. Best ones.
So yeah, I got into shit posting not just because the dopamine of getting some laugh reacts, but back when I started back in 2021, I think. I'm in this group that's called a Knight's Tale Fong posting, which is much like the Tremors Saga group, but it's dedicated to a Knight's Tale, which is one of my favorite cult classics. And the thing that I was noticing is there were a certain type of people that people would constantly have a problem with their posts and whatnot. And lo and behold, it's, a bunch of straight cis white men having a problem with a woman posting something that's a little spicy or someone trying to be inclusive of, people who aren't cis white men and their, stupid little shit posts that you constantly see in, all those giant groups where there's just no admin oversight.
Oh my God. So I'm like cringing internally, just like, oh my god, I know exactly
Oh
what
yeah,
this is. Oh yeah, holy
yeah,
shit. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
4 years of dealing with those kinds of people, and then you just kind of become desensitized to it, and then you just learn how to really get under their skin. And that's when I really like that group was the first one that I was just like, I'm gonna be a problem. I woke up and chose violence that day.
Checklist, you hating me.
Mm,
Check.
Checklist: being mean to people who don't warrant that kind of reaction.
That's fine. Honestly, you're just making me think of like all the times I get that, and I'm just like, no, you will go down. You will go down.
Yeah,
Oh my.
and like, see,
Like,
like, I feel like you and I have a similar outlook on this, where like I identify as cis male, I'm pansexual, like I celebrate pride and whatnot, but I also have the privilege of being able to have like I don't know if this is the correct term, but like a straight passing privilege, I guess. And so when I see people just acting like that, like there should be no accountability for like your online footprint, that just gets right under my skin. And like that's why I joined the Trimmer Saga.
yeah.
That's why I started posting like in general, because if they can just post absolute dog shit, bigoted, like racist, just bottom of the barrel content,
There's no
then
thought
I
to it. Can I just say
yeah.
I hate the lack of creativity? That's really my just like, man, you're not only a terrible person, you just don't even have any talent or skill or anything. Like, what is this? This is terrible. Just fuck off. So that's just a personal
Exactly.
like. It does underneath the skin of like. And I feel like
Exactly.
were you going? It seems like you were going to the place because I know you and I had this conversation about like in the group like banning people. Like it's better to give that 28-day suspension so then they just watch and they can't do anything. And
See,
it's like
yeah.
it's so good. I don't care that I have to do more work. It's like no, but like they suffer more, and I love. And they stay every single time. They
They
fucking stay.
stay.
You'd expect them to be like, nope, I'm leaving. They fucking stay.
My favorite ones though are the ones who like are so oblivious they don't understand that they can't turn off the notifications for like their comments and whatnot, because
Oh
they'll just
shit!
get like I recently just got a moderator badge for another Facebook group. uh it's a One Piece group. I believe it's called Buggy's Queer Carnival. uh but essentially, like anytime Pride comes around, you know you're going to be dealing with just an influx of people who are just trying to like bait people into sad reacting, angry acting, all that nonsense. And so the reason I became a mod was because I noticed that the admin there, I'll only refer to them as a steer, but like I could tell that they like had some work on their hands like dealing with all these people. So I just like posted a meme of Zoro telling Luffy that like, hey, I'll roast and ban bigots with you, like requesting to be a moderator, and literally
Oh,
the
nice.
next day. And since I'm already like, I just have so many shit posting friends, moderators of like, I'm friends with like so many different
It
admins and
becomes a network.
moderators.
Like I've
Exact.
realized
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like there's a whole just network of people. I love seeing the comrade Tremors people. Like they all have a group chat. They
Yeah.
asked me to be in it once, and I was like, guys, I don't think like that's just a line too far. But I appreciate continue like organizing though. I'm into that. Like way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in so many group chats that I just I
Speaking
just
of which,
mute all of them.
sorry, there's one. There's one. Comrade Perfection. Hey, thank you. Exactly.
Hello, comrade. But yeah, I'm in
There's
so
so
many
many.
group
But yeah,
chats
no,
that
yeah, there's so
I
many.
have to mute them, otherwise my phone would be dinging constantly. And I
Mhm.
don't mind it like I always tell everyone the same thing. Like if you need me, just tag me and I'll see it if it
Mhm.
pertains to me. Otherwise, leave me
Mention me in a
alone.
comment. It's way easier. Yeah.
Exactly. Just tag me in a meme on Facebook and I'll
Yeah.
see that before I look
And
at
in
my
fact, that lets me know that
messages.
it's serious because you took the time to like make the meme and like go through those steps, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, like ours is different because we've just chatted individually
Yeah.
about like having the episode and whatever you were like telling me like all the Tremors
Oh, the
movies in the series,
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
the Google Drive. So like those don't
If you
bother
want
me
one,
as much
people, I
because
got a Google Drive. We got a Google Drive for everybody. You get a Google Drive. You get a Google Drive. But continue. Sorry, it's hard to keep up. The point is, it is like there's so much of that moderation that it. I think more so than like in places like Reddit, like Facebook is way harder because it's way more spread out. Like Reddit moderation seems a
yes,
lot easier. You have your specific subreddits, but then like Facebook moderation feels more like forum moderation, like to go like
that's
all the way back
essentially
to
the
those old
vibe I've
days.
gotten. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the reason like I'm not very big on Reddit just because I don't understand it that well. Like
It's
I'll go to Reddit whenever I have like a niche thing that I'm
yep.
looking up, but when it comes to like social media engagement, I feel as though like I've figured out like how to trick the algorithm a little bit, because if you post in groups, especially larger ones, that is like upwards of like 50,000 people that have the potential to see your content. And especially if they're public groups, then they'll share them to their friends list and whatnot. So like on occasion I do get like a post that will get upwards of like 1 million views, and like according to my professional dashboard at least. But
I understand what
yeah,
you mean when you say it. It does say those numbers, like those
it
exist.
does those numbers. Like I'm not just pulling numbers out of my ass or anything, but like the reason it becomes like a little bit, you never know who's going to see it and react poorly to it as well. Too, like I get DMs from people who I don't even recognize if them from anything, and then they'll just be like, "I hate you. I hope you die," and I'm like, "Who are
Oh,
you?"
what the fuck?
Yeah, because
And delete.
yeah, because people just, for whatever reason, have that mentality that they can act that way.
It's that I it seems boomer the boomer thing would be to say, well, they're behind, like they're anonymous and they're online. I think that's just like a crutch. That is a behavior that those people take into real life. I see enough of those people at the grocery store, and I guess it's the like little asshole moves that you just notice. I'm trying to like think of things specifically, but just like seeing people being assholes all day, you're like, that person has a phone or a laptop and can message me at any time. That's still the same person. Like that's
Sorry, I was
oh god,
telling my
wow,
daughter
what was
something.
that? You can
But
tell her on air. It's okay. Hey, Rossbob's daughter, be good. Be good.
yeah, she's fine. She like it's raining over here, so she was just like making sure I was okay because she could hear me. But
Oh,
yeah, like when it comes to like interacting with people who like I've never had an in-person interaction with someone like who has that level of animosity, but there's definitely an influx of it, especially in
that's
these times.
I was having a hard time, like honestly putting like my finger on it. It's always just like a vibe, like when you're meeting somebody. They never actually say that, but I always wonder what their internal dialogue is. Sorry, now you've just got me thinking like how like what makes the person who's online also that person in real life. I'm going protesting tomorrow, so I'm just trying to think of like how to spot these people ahead of time. That's my
Like in my experience, they'll definitely make it known that that's their belief
They usually have
eventually.
blue uniforms with little badges on them. Yeah, I know.
That's sizzling bacon. Anywho, but yeah, in terms of like interactions in public, like yeah, you never really know what someone's thinking until they
Right?
blow up, and I think that comes from like some level of privilege where, like, just seeing something is going to make you that angry about it, like
That's what I'm
whatever
getting. Yeah. Okay.
whatever
Okay. Yeah.
misinformation that they've been spoon fed for however long,
the
like
the trigger on it is so soft. It just
oh
it
yeah.
boggles my mind. As someone with a very thick skin, I just look at them. I'm like, but who cares? Like, just scroll up. I think of that every time. Just scroll up every time you
Yeah.
comment or like on it. It's gonna show up more. Just scroll up.
That's one of my favorite type of person. Like, obviously, I don't want to see that happening, but because I have a monetized page as well, like, I really love to play into that. Like, well, you've been just spam commenting on my post. Thanks for the engagement, and sorry, like, just so you know, you're gonna see way more content exactly like mine because you're interacting with this so much. Like, that's how the algorithm works for literally every social media site. So, like, I don't think that they can reconcile the fact that their own, like, trigger happy reactions contribute to them seeing more and more of that content. And that leads to people getting so pent up that they feel like it's necessary to invade like queer spaces on the internet.
That makes me think. Okay, so do you have this thing where when it comes to the internet, I like to give things. Like I'm not. If I didn't have stuff to do with Tremors, I would not use social media at all. Like unless it was to post like my nephews or my wife. Like other than that, I'm like I don't care. But there's this compulsion I have where it's like I want to give back to the internet. Like I don't like that whole idea that what they're doing of just like, oh, I'm gonna take your meme isn't good enough and you're a terrible person because you said some communist whatever or another. Like it's like
You
why don't you make
Marxist.
something? Like please
Yeah.
make something. Like do you have that compulsion too of just like I want to make something? I want to make like actually put something out
Uh,
there and contribute.
I would say yes, because like obviously I don't just make Trimmers memes. Like
Oh yeah,
I make memes for things that like I genuinely enjoy too. Like
I like
tr-
your
the tr- the
Bridgerton
tr-
memes. I love
yeah,
Bridgerton.
like Bridgerton. I started watching that because my ex would watch that a lot, and I just kind of like this is an interesting show. Like I
It's not
like it.
bad. It ain't
It's
bad.
slow paced. It's a little sexy,
Yeah.
and yeah, I get it. But like Game Changer from Dropout is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Like like at this point I have no idea how many Facebook groups I'm actually in. I just join stuff that I like, and like it's usually a crapshoot about how well the group is run, but I'm also not one to shy away from one that seems like it's overtaken by the very people that I like to make fun of either. Like
Free for the
because
picking, man. Just boop, 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 boop.
usually those are actually more fun because I end up getting more interaction from them because they're just like it's just so easy to like lay a little meme trap and have them walk into it, and then like it just turns into way bigger of a thing and
It's
than
so
they were
nice.
anticipating. And
It's
it's
so
really fun.
good.
It's really fun to just like mess with them in that way because like people don't really think of it that way. Like,
You're feeding
oh,
it. Like they're
your
feeding like
your
like
meme makes me mad.
it does? Oh my god, I'm gonna make a meme about how much that makes you angry. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
Cool.
I've made many memes where like I've just used people's shitty comments or their shitty
uh,
like messages and whatnot just to
oh, it's
like,
so good.
hey,
It's so
hey,
good.
you should own this. Like if you're gonna
Yeah,
DM me, own it.
you
Like I
you
don't
said it,
mind
baby.
showing thousands of people like my beliefs, like my memes. Why are you ashamed of showing your beliefs in my comment section that like 15 people might see?
Come on, just do it. The only time I like to ban people in the group is when if somebody does that, like the flout post, like we're talking about woke ass culture. If someone just like does a flout post, because like 75% of the time they would delete it, and I would be like, oh no, come on, look, at least fucking stand behind it. So now what I'll do is I will ban that person, so then they can't like delete it. And it just
Oh
stays there.
yeah.
It stays there forever. And I'm just like,
Oh yeah, those are really fun.
like you
Just
have
like
to
the
own it
28-day
now, bitch.
suspensions are fun.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
it's oh,
and
snap.
honestly, I think that like to you and me that just seems like, hey, this person was dumb, let's make fun of them. But I think the positive thing that comes from that is it's important for people to have at least some semblance of accountability and
Yeah,
some pushback, because like people who are like, oh, I came into your comments and everyone's mad at me, you're obviously triggered. By suspending them for 28 days and letting like as many people see their stuff and comment on it, like just seeing
and
the influx
it
of people
piles
that are
just like
laugh reacting and like
yeah.
giving like very good concise arguments as to why they're not only just wrong, but they're also stupid for believing it, bigoted for believing it, all those things. Like, it's important for those people to see that context and understand, like, hey, you want to act like this in real life. I know that. That's why you're doing it here. But you can't act like that here either.
Yeah.
Like, and they exclusively go for like inclusive spaces.
It's every time.
Every
They know what they're
because
doing. Like,
they know what
it's
they're
what
doing,
sucks about
exactly.
it.
And it's like they can't help themselves to a degree. Like, those are the ones that I'm usually like kind of like,
Yeah.
you're
There
invading
are
queer spaces to tell us how we're all, predators and evil, but
what are
you're
you
in
doing?
here talking about all that when none of us were. So what's on your mind there, bud?
You're talking about kids and genitalia quite a lot when none of the rest of us were. So what's going on? But you have something
Yeah.
you want to share with the class?
Yeah, and like those are always the people that end up like sending some nasty direct message,
Oh my god! Yeah.
or end up flouncing, or just go on and on about how we're wrong and they're right, how we'll go to hell, this, that, and the other. Nothing you haven't seen a million times before. And that ties into that, like, they're just not original thinkers. Like, they lack creativity to come up with insults of their own or even memes of their own. So it's like they have to get some kind of comment in.
I wish they would make memes. Like, I can't tell you, for like, I've been doing this for like 5 years now, and like every time it's just like, why can't you make a meme? Just fucking like fight me back. This isn't fight. Like, actually fucking come here and fight me with something, not just like leaving your comments and like, fuck you, like, come after my soul, denigrate me,
See,
like, destroy me.
like, even if I diametrically oppose someone's views, I will automatically have more respect for them on a certain level if they're at least willing to like make memes about it rather than just commenting about it. It's
Engaged. There's
like
Alex.
it
There's
almost
Alex
feels like a
Piasecki in
comedian
the
getting
Tremor
heckled.
Saga group. Like,
I'm sorry.
There's Alex Piasecki in the Tremor Saga group. Who
I
he's a little
recognize
more.
that name.
I know you do, and honestly, but he's one that I would point out. Like, hey, thank you for being creative about it. I appreciate that. Like, I disagree with everything that you're saying, and it's really dumb. But you know what? You took the time to say it with honor,
Yeah.
and that's way to go.
Like it's different when someone owns it, and like depending on like the reprehensibility of what they're saying, like if it's like dumb shit, like that's fine.
It's usually
But if it's
something
like
communist bad. I don't. That's
yeah, like something like that, I'm not bothered by that because obviously, like, okay, what
that's bait in the
that's
other direction. As much as we have
yeah.
bait, the right side has bait. It's just like, okay, I see it. I
but
got it.
but yeah, like in a lot of ways, like the people who just don't try to contribute to a group in that way, like making memes or like even like contributing, like I'd much rather see someone doing like those like shirt posts where like, hey, look at my cool trimmer shirt,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
than someone who's just gonna comment and like
Or even
not
just write
contribute at
something. You don't
all.
got to make a meme. There's that
Yeah,
one. There's
like
Brian Frisbee in the group, like that. He doesn't make memes, but he like writes the little sentences beforehand, and then he has the images afterwards. And I'm always like,
yeah,
well, that's an interesting way to do that. But yeah, fuck yeah, man. Like, there's so many
yeah.
ways to contribute. And yeah, sorry, it just pisses me off. This is a
No,
nerve. You're striking a nerve with me, right? I'm realizing,
like, but that
okay,
is what I do
Levi, you're
appreciate
good. You're
about your
safe.
group
We're
as
good.
well. But that is what I appreciate about the Trimmer Saga group is because like there are shit posting groups and there are fan groups. I feel like the Trimmer Saga is a nice balance between fan group and shit posting because like a shit posting group, like you're encouraged to make memes. Like you'll have templates in the album for people to make
Hey,
their own
we do.
memes.
I took a
And
lot of time putting, which
and
I have to stop and say that's actually the meme that made me fall in love with you. It's the one with Bert Gummer. Here, while you're talking, the one with Bert Gummer and him saying, "You know, a group is good when it has like screenshots in the albums." I'm like, "Oh my god, thank you so much, thank you so much. I have spent so much time and nobody has seen that. I love you." But yeah, sorry, it's. There is a good balance there. That's the point. Like, we are
yeah,
official in a way, but also let people be weird and fun.
yeah, and like have like since like you host and organize Tremors conventions and whatnot. So it's good to see people contributing in the fact like, hey, I went to this convention, or hey, look at these cool collectibles I have. Like
Yeah.
that promotes even more Tremors things because like there
Yeah.
are artists out there who will make great
That's
like
where
stuff.
this I
Yeah,
actually
stuff like
so
that.
all I did was just encourage Ben for like 2 years to like, yeah, that's great. Like we would message back and forth, and I'd be like, yeah, that bussy is awesome. I'm not sure what this is. It's and this is great. I like I said, I have 4 copies, but then I was like, you know what? There's the Tremors comics coming out. We need like a Tremors like book, like not just like comics, but stories, like short stories and stuff. So now Ben and I are putting together like a fanzine of sorts with like
Oh,
it'll
that's
have
cool.
comics in it and it'll have stories and essays and shit. So it's what you're talking about, like you foster that flame of creativity and it passes it
Exactly.
down the line.
Like, and it doesn't just like affect like meme makers. Like me, like that's what I look for when I join groups is like I don't mind if a group doesn't have templates and screenshots to make memes because I can just as easily find my own. But that definitely sets a good precedence because people are more encouraged to actually do it, especially if like you do the old uh like admin trick where man, yeah, that was one of the ones that I'd made right before
Oh
I
god.
watched the movies, and I loved
Made me
After
so
Shock as
happy.
well.
I can't. Yeah, guys. Well, this
I'm
is what
leaving the group because of
you,
woke.
you're talking about, like you can find screenshots and stuff, like you can go through it and do it anyway, even if you don't have templates. Like I love doing Tremors templates because the faces, like I have more fun making the templates
Yes,
because the fucking faces in all these movies and stuff are
absolutely gold.
oh my god, there's always I get lost in it because I'm like, that's great, oh that's great, like I'm scrubbing through milliseconds, like that's great, oh Jesus.
Yeah, there is a website and app that I use for other stuff. It's called Meme Source, MEMESRC, and the creator of it, his name is Davis, and the premise of it is, you can search by dialogue for the shows that it has available.
Ooh.
So, like, that's one of the best places to get those things.
Ooh.
Otherwise, you're just kind of like scrolling through YouTube and like like Tremors screenshots, and then you just
Yes.
kind of have to work with what you got beyond
That's
that.
why I made the albums. I was like, I've got so many of these
Yeah,
in my phone that I'm like, I need to put them someplace because I know not only will I use them, but somebody else will later. Like I don't know when, but like I know that this is
e-
important.
and I'm one of those people that will always
Yeah.
eventually use them.
And unless it's like Tremors 1 or 2, getting a screenshot is a very like select.
I've noticed.
Like there's not a lot there. So
Yeah, I noticed that with Tremors for The Legend Begins, the
yep,
Western one. Like that one
the
is hands
best one.
down my favorite one of the entire series. With
Yes, question answered.
probably with the first one as a close, like not a close second, but like a semi close second. But like I was trying to find screenshots and templates, and you had some in there, and I was just like, these don't. It's not enough. I need more.
No, it's not. It needs more. Now that you say, I know it needs more. I know how many I've made. It's usually just the
But
one with the wand staring. I always love that one, like the fourth wall break that happens in the middle.
yes,
It's
that
just
that
such a
was really
good like.
But yeah, I wasn't aware that was your favorite one as well.
Oh my god, yes. If you want to, you were talking about like posting like bait takes or controversial takes. The one that I always like to do is Tremors 4 is the best movie. What fucking? Yeah, we'll fight about that. Let's go to town because it is. It is.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, it's my favorite one. I can't speculate. I can't say for sure. I can't say conclusively that it's like the best one in terms of production or like acting, anything. Like it's
I
my
call
personal
it the
favorite.
best Tremors movie, which
Yeah,
it's my favorite,
yeah,
and it's the
my
best
favorite.
Tremors movie. Like if you wanted to put like what Tremors is into a box, Tremors 4 is that like box. Tremors is a
Yes,
perfect
I
movie.
agree.
Like the first one's a perfect movie, but 4, oh
It's
baby,
the
it is.
best. It's the best one.
Yeah.
I think the
Why did you
reason
like it? Now I gotta add. I was gonna say, yeah.
the
Why did you
reason
like it?
I liked it so much was because one, like what I've noticed is I really enjoy Michael Gross's performances as Burt Gummer and as Hiram or Hiram.
Have you watched
Uh,
Family Ties? Are you a Family Ties fan?
Is that the one with Bill Burr?
No.
I don't think I have.
It's what Michael Gross did before Tremors. He was in 7 seasons of this show called Family Ties, where he plays like a liberal hippie dad. Oh my god, that show is so good. It
Now
is
that you
so good.
mention it, that sounds really familiar. It's like
It's
something
like
that I
from
think
the 80s with Michael J. Fox and stuff, and like
I do know what you're talking
I
about.
was
Yeah,
sorry, because he's a
I didn't know he
fantastic
was in it
actor.
though.
The point of it was that like seeing him, Steve Keaton is the character's name, is a vastly different person than
From
Burt
Burt Gummer.
Gummer, and then to see that Burt Gummer is vastly different than Hiram Gummer, like
See,
it is
I think what I
amazing.
appreciated, that's what I really appreciated, that made me enjoy Tremors that much, is it was that was Michael Gross absolutely flexing on us, because like he's absolutely like the gun-toting anti-federal government like badass that we know him as Burt Gummer. So it was really interesting to see him take on like the same franchise but as a different character, because there are challenges that go with that, because there's certain expectations.
That's
And
why a lot of people hate the movie, is actually the expectations. Everybody expects Burt, didn't get it, and that's why we have the hatred.
And that's honestly what I liked about it, because like Hiram eventually kind of becomes like Burt Gummer-esque.
You see
like,
that evolution.
Towards the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And it's not because like he's like against the government. It's not just because of like the graboids that they were having to deal with. It was simply because like, hey, these people that accepted me as I am, they like me. Like, I've never had a family like this. My
High
own
five
father
a million
only
angels.
left
Oh my
me
god.
this pocket watch that I'm willing to give to the gunslingers, so that way I can help keep this town okay. And like the reason, like I think that one was,
I love you so much.
and the reason why I think that one's the best is because like Burt Gummer is great, but he doesn't necessarily have that much character development in the other ones. Like he is kind of like, he has moments, yes, but like for the most part, he's Burt Gummer being Burt Gummer in changing situations, whereas Hiram was in the same situations that Burt was in with none of the same resources, and he found his way into like this community by like challenging the expectations that he'd had for himself. Like he went in there just being like, I'm only here to make sure the silver mine's back up and running.
Okay,
and then
by the way, that's an impression. That's a pickle. Okay. That's a pickle. That counts. I mean, you can keep doing it. I loved it. I just had to try. I feel I was denied critical, most needful information. What's happening at my mind?
Yeah, so that's what I really appreciate about that movie, and coupled in with the fact that it very much reminded me of like Back to the Future 3. Like it also kind of reminded me of like Red Dead Redemption. There was nostalgia I felt for that movie that I felt like secondhand nostalgia for, because I didn't see it when it came out, but it reminded me of other things like that kind of utilized that Western.
The writer-director of the movie, S.S. Wilson, who's done all the Tremors, huge Western fan. Like this book, Tucker's Monster, is about two guys in like the 1920s trying to find a dinosaur. It's so awesome. Like, and that giant steam engine that's in the fucking movie, that was Steve basically being like, I mean, like we were gonna have a railroad, but I really like steam engines. Can we like have a steam engine instead? Because if you go to his YouTube channel, he has like all of these like old tractors and little pedal tractors. What I'm saying is you're feeling his nostalgia. That's where I just had to like, you're getting somebody else's nostalgia through a movie.
Yeah, that's amazing that you bring that up, because I absolutely felt that Western nostalgia through that movie, and like it didn't feel out of place in the franchise either, in my opinion. It just felt like more a prequel. Honestly, I would watch
a sequel to that prequel. I'm fine with that. I am A-okay.
Yeah, like, but chances are we're not gonna be able to get, because if I like, you've talked about a little bit in the group about how the studio that reclaimed the Tremors rights, like they can only do so much with it. Like they can only really work beyond like the first movie, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much. Like having watched the movies recently, like part of me like already feels like a sense of just like, I don't know, fuck you, Universal.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was one. That's an olive. It's fair. It's totally fair. Although I just emailed Steve this afternoon because I was watching the Predator movies, like leading up to I wanted to watch Killer of Killers,
Hmm?
and I was like, "Hey, Steve, oh my god, like I know that Mark, like the lawyer, was talking about doing some Prey or whatever. Like, have you guys thought about like an animated something? Like, do it like an animated Beneath Perfection movie?" And he hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I was just like, "Oh shit, yo, hey, animated like Predator movie, like just like oh please and thank you," because it's easier to pull off, like not as much money, easier to like actually
Very
physically
true.
make and stuff. So
Yeah. I am very curious to see the direction that they'll be able to go in, just because like
he was his
they do have
son.
they do have some constrictions on them about how they can proceed. And one thing that I've noticed from the franchise itself is even though like Universal had like the legal authority to like maintain the rights to the sequels, what I noticed is like Tremors itself, like the very first one is more or less just like a campy horror movie about like fighting worms and monsters and whatnot, and like a sense of community. But as this like the franchise continued, I started noticing that it was actually like a great vessel for certain issues that often get like swept under the rug, like
Mhm.
Cold Day in Hell, they're literally talking about the polar ice caps melting.
Yeah, yep.
And Shrieker Island, they're literally talking about deforestation and displacing indigenous peoples, like
Hmm.
things that people who would love to identify with Burt Gummer would be just like completely opposed to otherwise. So like the way I see it is whatever direction that the writing team is able to go in, they're going to be able to work with what they have. Like
Oh
they've
yeah,
been doing that for decades now.
yeah.
Like
It's
writers are resilient in that way.
it's knowing. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, fine. Let's go. Just go. Like here we go. You got to check it off. I can do that. I can't do that. Can't do this. Like there's a lot. And graboids themselves, you can't use anything in the sequels. You know, graboids are great. Like they're fucking kick ass. There's a reason that like this that we're here in the first place. That first movie has to be amazing, and like yeah, graboids kick ass, man. Like we can do it. I know Steve's not listening, but please just do it. Just do it.
Like one of the things that kind of makes me laugh is if they're willing to like they're not going to allow like the life cycle of graboids to be in any new thing. They're really kind of doing themselves a disservice because essentially what they're doing is they're decanonizing their own movies, and that's going to make it
Yep.
less likely that people are going to
Yep.
want to go back and watch those. Like, oh, that's not canon. Like I've known plenty of people who are like, oh, that's not canon.
Yeah.
Usually the Star Wars people, but
And you know,
regardless.
in my mind, it's one of those things like let everything be canon up until the point of like if something is really breaking it. If there's physical like
Yes.
break moments, then you're like, okay, hold on, let's like dial back. Which I have to say, tongues that move on their own, I don't look. I don't mind Tremors 5, 6, and 7, but that is just one thing I cannot abide, sir. That is
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like whenever I saw that, if I'm not mistaken, the moving tongue one, when was that? That was
Five.
first
That's
introduced in
5.
five.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, Cold Day in Hell. Whenever I first saw
Also
that,
has it. Yeah.
I was just kind of like, hmm, this
Yeah.
like
Well,
I get what you're going for, but this is a little cheeseball.
and actually, so the director of the movie, like Don Michael Paul, was at the first Tremors Fest, and he actually talked about how like their budget for those movies was tiny. Like the budgets for
Oh,
the
I
original
bet.
movies were pretty small, but 5, 6, and 7, it was like around 2.8 or like 3.5 million, like to like make those,
Yeah.
and then also making enough money that they made 3 of them anyway in the space of like 5 years. It's really weird math, but he was talking. So in the original Tremors 5 script, the tongues are meant to be the little babies like from Tremors 4. Like those were originally meant to be like the little like tiny little dirt dragons, and they would have swarmed and stuff with like been a whole mass of them. But Don was like, we literally that budget, we didn't have the budget to do that, so we couldn't do it. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like
I'm sorry, I take it back my hatred. I'm sorry, man. That's
that's what I also appreciate about one thing I could definitely notice with all the movies is you can tell they had a limited budget. And I'm not one to like look down on a studio for having a small budget and working what they got. There are certain things that are like okay, that's a little silly, but
Yeah.
it really just like kind of points out like how like loved the franchise is, that even though they're getting consistently smaller and smaller budgets, they're still consistently popular.
They're trying. Everybody's trying. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
like
say
the
everybody loves
effort
them.
put
Yeah,
into it is so admirable that you can't help but root for them.
yeah.
And so that's why like Universal like losing the rights to the first Tremors movie, at least, I think that that is the best case scenario, because if people like, I kind of feel like Universal was doing the typical corporate cash grab with it. Like it felt like, the GameStop stock short thing, but for
Oh yeah,
movies
oh yeah.
in a way, where
I
like
suspect
the
tax fraud.
producers
I have a
and
big conspiracy theory about tax fraud. That's there's a whole.
like, yeah, have you seen The Producers by Mel Brooks or the movie?
Oh yeah. If you short a show, you make more money on a flop than you do on a
I
hit.
I
Yeah. Oh yeah.
genuinely think that that may have been an element to like how the movies
Look,
kept getting
my
produced.
theory may or may not have been based on the producers, but that's neither here nor there.
But yeah, so I am really excited to see the direction that they're going to be able to go in, because they're like, legally speaking, there are workarounds to certain things, because like like it's not like they have the rights to, oh, graboids have life cycles, you can't say anything about life cycles. No,
Yeah.
we'll just change the names. We'll just call them different names. Like, it'll be different people completely who
Yeah.
can rediscover the graboid life cycle.
Which is the best part. Like, if that's where I've always said, if like somebody gave me the reins, I would love to make more anthologies out of it, of just like new people every time, like have our overarching characters moving in and out, but new people every time discovering the threat and
Yeah.
dealing with it. Like, that's what makes it cool. Like, that's the fun of Tremors. I keep losing my pen. So I keep losing my pen. Forgive me. It's like this desk is rounded and it just keeps going like this. Actually, that's what Steve Wilson said. Like, in making more movies, that graboid shriekers and ass blasters have now become akin to like vampires, and so we as the audience know the rules. We know the rules of how they work.
Exactly.
The fun of it is seeing new people figure out the rules and get to that point.
Yeah, like I feel like, just like off the top of my head, like it's easy enough to just like rediscover that life cycle and just have the new characters give them new names as well.
Yep,
Like, in the way,
though.
like the best way to go about like circumventing that is like, I think back in Perfection, when the store clerk is like saying, you should read the comics, like, it's super easy to explain why there wouldn't be comics. Like, oh, graboids aren't a thing, like they're not selling anymore, just like, yeah, we'll throw out these old things, like.
So that's what, man, you gotta watch the TV show, because it opens up this idea that like, just because there's a fucking like dinosaur living in your life that you can go and travel to see, people are still like, yeah, but that dinosaur, that's fake news, is fucking a robot, fucking bullshit. And the best part is that accent is actually the character in the show. I wasn't just doing something. That was the. I ain't gonna stand it. No giant plastic. I got my olives.
Okay. Oh wait, we both got to do it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh yeah. So new people discovering it is very easy, because like you can go anywhere. Like, it's not your
Yeah, not used to just like having pickles.
And Cecil over here was talking about there's still plenty of fertile ground to cover, even with the worms, plenty. But it would definitely work as an anthology, and that's where mine is always TV show. I go back to like make it a TV show, and just let those episode counts go 45. Maybe it's an hour and a half. I don't know. Let the story define that, and just travel in and out of different people's lives. Maybe Burt Gummer shows up here and there. Maybe Kevin Bacon. Maybe fucking nobody.
Because if I'm not mistaken, like Michael Gross wanted to kind of hang him up, but
nope. I wanted to correct you on this. You said this.
I did.
It's not your fault. No, it's not your fault. I knew. I was like, oh no, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I'm still a newcomer, everybody. Don't be mean.
No, you're fine. That's actually how I got started doing this, was that when he died. Okay, listen, it's 5 years. It's spoilers. Burt Gummer is dead, everyone. Folks. Burt Gummer's fucking dead. And I looked it up, and he was doing an Ask Me Anything at the time, and he was like, no, it's kind of seemed like Universal just didn't want to do it anymore, and I was
And
like,
he
well,
wanted to go out on a high note.
on his at least a little bit of something, and so he was like, yeah, I will, but he specifically fought for in his contract, like the death has to be like ambiguous in some way, so there's an ability for him to return. That's why the glasses and the
That's
sunglass, that
amazing.
the
Yeah.
hat and the glasses are there, although that's fucking insane.
Like
But-
yeah, like I'm one of those people where like I know that I can't avoid spoilers all the time. And I knew going into it that like Bert was going to be dying. But I didn't actually piece it like since I thought it was him trying to like hang him up like he it seemed like he might have been
yeah,
done with it because he was like the backbone of the entire franchise. Like
fuck yeah, oh yeah,
from all the way back to perfection. And so like it's understandable if someone wants to like go out on a high note or just like wants to hang him up, wants to kind of retire a role. So it's actually amazing that you say that that's his reasoning behind it,
he still
because
is like,
the ambiguity that comes with is that scene as well, because even if like they make a new series, if they make new movies and whatnot, that means that canonically, even within the Universal movies, he has that open door to come back.
exactly, like that's where it
I,
just
I I
sounds.
definitely love that you corrected me on that,
Yeah,
because
no, that's
it's
what
like,
I was like. Oh
is it
no.
Tremors if Michael Gross isn't there? I'd
Yes.
be happy with a hologram of him.
Yeah, I know. No, it is. That's a hard question, but it is Tremors without Burt Gummer. It's because I always point out there is Tremors 4. Burt Gummer's not there, and then there are 3 episodes of Tremors the series that don't have Burt in it. So there is that.
Yeah.
Like it does exist.
He definitely is the anchor of the franchise, just because he's been the most consistent presence,
Mhm.
like other than the graboids themselves. But yeah, like
Actually, he's more consistent than the Graboids or like the Shriekers or Ass Blasters because they only show up in certain metamorphoses. Like he's there
that's
every
true.
single time. Like every single time.
Yeah, like he's the dude that shows up. Like and
That's
that
where
I
that
think
ending
that's
he needed. It drove me mad at the time. Like the way he dies because that seems like a character that out of everybody really deserved a like ride into the sunset moment of just like letting
yeah.
it like not even like oh they died but just let them like go on a sit on a porch and like that's where the
Yeah.
movie ends like killing them is really like wow this guy has done a lot for you over the years and the best way you can think to like repay him is to fucking murder him. That's
And not
okay.
only murder him, but he sacrifices himself to save Napoleon Dynamite. Like
a
no
man
shade to John Hader, but like yeah.
a man he met maybe 24 hours before maybe.
Maybe, yeah, and he's also just kind of like, this guy's a bit of a dipshit,
Ugh, it's fine.
which is
And I actually,
typical Burt Gummer.
and I have to say, so like, I don't know if you noticed this, and this is the real like the stab is that movie ends, Shrieker Island ends, and then there's that montage of Michael Gross. Do you feel like Michael Gross died when you first watched that? Like, there's a little montage at the end of like Burt Gummer and Hiram Gummer clips, and it's like set to really sad music of like, "Where were you when the Burt Gummer said fire fucking
Like,
flamethrower?" Uh,
I don't think that influenced, like, because I thought that Michael Gross was like trying to retire from the role,
done
so
done.
I didn't necessarily think that that was just like casting any ambiguity on his death, but it felt more of like a like kind of like an homage to Michael Gross in a way.
Oh yeah, well that's
Because
what
if
for
they
me.
were going to be ending the Tremors franchise with that movie anyway, it does make sense to like give Michael Gross the respect due.
Fuck yeah, the respect you didn't give him in the movie, but you gave it afterwards with a
Yeah,
montage.
like,
Like
and look
that's
what they did to his
yeah.
character too. Like, it's like the
uh,
events of A Cold Day in Hell never happened before
oh my
Sugar
god,
Island.
right? Oh my
Like
god.
the federal government still made him pay taxes. Those motherfuckers.
They get your spore and then they get your DNA and you're like, this look, Burt Gummer's nuts, but this is a little too far, sir. I don't appreciate this characterization.
I think that that was probably a natural. Like, I do feel like that is the natural progression of Burt Gummer, just because, like, it to me, like in Shrieker Island, whenever he's a hermit on an island, like that struck me as like the government took everything from him, even though he's helped them out in multiple movies, and he's still like trying his best to like keep perfection going, even though it's like by shoot, I can't think of. I think it was A Cold Day in Hell. Whenever he's like waiting for the tax man to come, and
Oh yeah.
he has a gun leveled at him and everything, and then Jamie Kennedy comes in, like it definitely feels like that wasn't necessarily like him like embodying anything right wing. It embodied like someone who almost like a veteran in a way, where
Oh yeah.
like
Mhm.
like how we just disrespect people who do acts of service for us, put their lives on the line, and then we'll like make it to where they can't afford insurance or they can't afford their taxes, like when they're just trying to maintain the only life they knew before the service they had. So like I think that's one of the best elements of Tremors, is because like I said earlier, it
Oh my god.
definitely is a vessel to like really like kind of drip feed like almost like empathy into its audience as well. So I thought that that was very clever, right? Like whether it was intentional or not,
Oh my god.
I felt like that was a very clever way to kind of give Burt Gummer some semblance of like a character
Oh.
dynamic.
I have never thought of that. That is fucking stellar. Like bravo. I can't speak to whether or not it was intentional, but that symbolism is there.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Wow.
like, and it's in every single movie as well. Like aftershocks, they're literally like trying to protect this like oil refinery in Mexico, like that's destroying the environment and awakening graboids. Like back to perfection, like they're like, I can't remember the kid's name now. uh the guy who's
Melvin.
like buying it,
Melvin.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Melvin.
yeah.
He's like the schmoozy guy that's trying to buy up all this property and like literally
He
rob
wants to make
people of their
Melville.
home.
Yep.
Yeah, like those people, those kinds of people exist in real life. Like people who undersell like people with lots of land because, well, who else is going to buy it? They're graboids here. Like this thing that we like, like this environmental issue is the perfect reason why you should sell me your property for like dimes on the dollar so that way I can turn it around. Like
Do you think
that's
that those same people are the ones that comment and message us behind the scenes? Sorry, I'm
no,
just, my brain is just like, yeah, Melvin would totally fucking do that, wouldn't he? He'd just be like, your fucking
no.
Facebook group is bullshit, man. I just want to set up ranchettes with worms, asshole. Oh my god, that was
No,
man.
anyone who acts like that on the internet, they fall in line with the bootlickers and bigots more than they do the billionaires. And not to say Melvin was a billionaire, but he was definitely in a position of privilege to be able to be buying these like farmlands that had been in these families' lives for generations. And then to him, it's just like, oh, well, the town is failing, meh, meh, meh. And he just wait, that's an impression.
And contextually, you should know, very first episode of the TV show, like you get introduced to Melvin and he's outside of Chang's and he's like, and like, here's Chang's Discount Market and all in the middle of downtown Melville. Melvin, you would really rename the town you grew up in after yourself? Why not? It's all my vision. Like, so
Yeah,
he literally wants to bulldoze everything and name it after himself.
yeah,
Like that's how bad
like
that is.
that's what I noticed. Like every one of them had in common was it's essentially like it's almost like a small protest against the evils of capitalism in a way, just because like every single one of them, like that's where it stems from. Like even in an aftershock, what's going on is like Earl and Bert are not rich men. They're literally like at the end of their ropes, and then they go off to go graboid hunting, and they're
Degrade
literally
peace,
getting,
baby.
yeah, like they
Okay.
survived. They've survived graboids once. Were the only people that knew what to do and how to help, and then they just pack up and go take care of the problem because they're the only ones that know how to do it. And a contributing factor was they were going to be getting paid assloads of money to do it.
And they did get paid. And they did get
They
paid,
did
actually.
get paid. Like
And I always love to point out, like, Bert is such a socialist. Like, this is like to go back to the people that hate hate our memes and stuff and like think Burt Gummer is their hero, he took all of his money from Aftershocks and he put it into defense systems for the town.
Yes.
Like in everywhere else. Like actually like he set up everybody else in the town with shit on his own dime.
Exactly. It's same with
Like,
Hiram as well.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
like that's where it really, like, whenever I made I made a meme for The Legend Begins where it's Hiram and it's right as he's like starting in on the Gatling gun, where essentially he's saying something along the lines of I wish I could like I make so many memes I can't remember the exact words for it, but it was essentially like the point that, hey, he turns into a communist and he like shares his profits with his found family. That is the literal definition of a proletariat. like
Don't
like
you be talking that commie stuff. Oh Jesus, I almost said Jews. I almost said Jewish stuff. Help me. That was really close. I was like, damn, Jews. Honestly, Jews are great. I love Jews. I take it back. But he's very giving to his community. I know.
Yeah, and that's why I could see the frustration where people are like, you can't co-opt Burt Gummer, and they're like, why? He loves guns. It's like, so do communists.
Yeah, I know.
Have you ever heard of armed proletariat? Like the rights of the proletariat to be armed is like important. Any attempts to disrupt that should be met with force. Like that is exactly what Burt Gummer did.
Like, right?
It's impossible to deny the fact that Burt Gummer is someone who people are easy to say, oh yeah, he's right wing because he loves guns. Like, I know way more leftists than I know right wingers who are into their guns.
Yeah,
like way more.
We know the value in them because we've had our rights taken away. So
exactly, and like that's why I often think that right wingers with gun, excuse me, that's the pickles coming up. That's why I think right wingers with like a gun fetish, they often kind of just make me laugh. It's because it's like, sorry, whose rights are like, what rights of yours are being taken away that you need to arm yourself to protect yourself from them?
Tread on me harder, daddy. That's what.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite comments that I made about someone. It was like someone had posted something along the "Don't tread on me" like line of thinking, and I said, "Yeah, the don't tread on me people are only concerned about being treaded on by drag queens and stilettos."
It's not a fetish, Mom. I swear.
Don't tread on me, maybe. Maybe don't tread on me so much.
Those 6 inches, man, and they're always steep too. So you're just getting right into the meat.
Inches.
Tread, daddy.
But yeah, like, and every single one of them, and every single one of them has very heavy themes of like, left-wing ideology in it. Like, so it is really funny to see people co-opting him, and he's like fluent in Spanish, helps people of color and indigenous people more often than he like in what's the one where they're in Australia called? I think it's Tremors 5.
Yeah, Bloodlines.
Thank you.
Africa.
The one where Jamie
Africa.
Kennedy perseveres.
Yeah. Yep.
It's South Africa. Thank you. I always get those two confused because they have very similar ways of dealing with their indigenous people. But yeah, like that was like, I'm not like I'd say Bloodlines, like, it wasn't bad by any means, but like it definitely kind of fell below like the average.
After that Tremors 4 high, it would just
yes, like I was just like so pumped for Legend Begins, and then so when I was watching Bloodlines, like it was good to it, like I liked it, but the first thing I noticed is like, how the fuck can anyone co-op Burt Gummer when he's literally going to help the indigenous people of South Africa?
Right?
That is literally a metaphor for the effects of apartheid. Like, these government people are just being willy-nilly about their graboid infestation. Oh, who cares if it's going to affect the indigenous peoples? Like, I want more money. And Burt Gummer is like, well, fuck that. Fuck you guys.
Give me my guns. I'm gonna go hunt worms and save the blackies. Why did I say blackies? Oh my god! Somebody talk. Somebody talk.
But yeah, like it's important to recognize those things because like when right wingers feel a certain way about a character, they often misrepresent it. And it's like the same thing you see with like people who idealize Fight Club or American Psycho,
Mhm.
where literally both of those movies are an indictment of the pattern of toxic masculinity. Whereas like Tremors, like it's very clever in the way that it brings certain things up where people otherwise might not really recognize them as problems. Like, like apartheid in South Africa, the polar ice caps melting and making like Precambrian beings come
For
back.
me, it's the endangered species one from Tremors 3. I always think how clever that is. Of like, oh, like the government pulls up because yeah, you're about to kill a creature we've only seen once before or twice, and the other two times you blew them up. Stop blowing them up. This is really bad. You have to stop this. This is not a good thing. Like,
I will say one of the problems I had with that one is it seemed very out of character for Bert to have one staying alive. I'm not sure if that was him playing a trick on Melvin or if he actually kept one
you
alive.
got to watch Tremors the series. Like that's all I'm gonna say. So they're reaching. So I'll say this much: when you're watching it, you'll notice that El Blanco, he kind of becomes like the town's pet, where you can almost headcanon it. Plus, there's a little bit of like stuff there that he tries to protect them, and he won't eat the townspeople because he knows that like tourists show up all the time, so he can eat the tourists. And it doesn't matter, but he tries to help the townspeople.
That's
It's
really funny.
and it's not. It seems far fetched, but then you watch it and you're like, no, okay, this can actually, yeah, okay,
Well,
this giant worm is help. They help El Blanco. El Blanco helps them. It's a give and take thing.
that also ties into like they really explore it in the first two movies, but they don't really explore it that much. Like the main graboids, they're intelligent, like they're
Mm-hmm.
capable of seeing problems and then overcoming those problems, which is why like the RC cars stopped working for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like how it started surrounding the buildings instead of like just kind of roaming
Trying to break
around.
it, but like I
Yeah.
love that in the first movie where they're physically like digging, like you see that like
Yes.
trying to dig the structure, and you're like,
Yeah, and
God
like
damn, that's smart. This is
and also the legend begins when they're literally disassembling the flooring that they're standing on that's protecting them.
yes,
And it's like
yeah.
taking each piece like piece by
They are
piece to try
patient.
and get
They are
at
like
them.
the most patient creature. But like they'll
Yeah.
just.
And so like it definitely holds up. Like I've only watched like I haven't watched very far into the series. I'm still working on that one. But it definitely stands to reason that Blanco would become intelligent enough to like, oh, I shouldn't fuck with Bert.
Yeah,
He'll
that's
fucking kill me. And so he like ventures out to get tourists instead because like yeah, it's smart enough to not go for like to bite the hand that feeds.
yeah. It knows what the town. I think of it in the terms of like it knows what the town's like seismic signature is. Like it would know what the buildings are. It has to pass through them all the time. So it would be like, okay, I know that this is where I hear that one noise all the time. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep rolling. And like, and he does. He'll just continually pass through. But everywhere else is like, yeah, okay, you're like 5 miles from that other place. I'm gonna eat your ass. You're out. I don't care. Fuck you. Who you shouldn't be out here anyway. That's what the sign said. I read it.
But yeah, like so that's why I definitely have faith in any new projects is like the writer in me has already like thought of like certain directions that they can go in. And even if
What do
they
you got?
just like
That's one of my questions. What do we got? What do you got?
the first thing I thought of was like because I've noticed like the indictments of capitalism and all that stuff, and especially in Shrieker Island, like they are literally breeding like more malleable graboids to hunt. So
Oh,
it's
you're
not
gonna
a
love
stretch.
Tremors the series. Oh my god. Oh
It's
shit.
not a stretch to
Oh.
think that like some corporation that would want like
Oh.
farmlands to get deserted or even cities to get deserted that they would start breeding graboids to like level cities even. So like my thinking behind it is like it would be a very cool way to go, that they take the Tremors out of the rural area and start having it be like there's like a graboid infestation in like a bigger city like Las Vegas even and
That's the
stuff
one
like
I
that.
always pick Vegas because you got to go what's
Yeah,
close to perfection.
it's a hop and a throw away from
Yeah.
perfection because it's in the same state. So like it would be very cool to see like that kind of content from them because like it's a perfect allegory for like the effects of like climate change and displacement of natural disasters and more urban areas as well because we've seen plenty of tremors in the rural areas where it's smaller communities, but what I would really love to see is like a much larger community coming together to just absolutely dogpile a graboid. I think that would be just amazing.
So you mean like full city or like a suburban area? Because as you were saying that, you're talking about deforestation and stuff. That like there could be a good section there of like an outskirts area of Vegas is like slowly building, and they're building more houses, and the people in that neighborhood have to dogpile and beat up graboids because they attack their golf course. I don't know. Sorry, my brain's just thinking.
Honestly,
That,
that's the best way to go about it. Like,
you got to.
like
I always have to
honestly,
think of
fuck
the
golf
physics
courses.
of the creature, like because it's concrete. 'Cause that's always the one. Once I hit concrete, my brain goes, "Okay, that's shriekers then," because you can't trying to get graboids to the concrete just doesn't seem like it would work as well. But there's lots of areas in urban stuff that are like, well, okay, but you got backyards, you got parks, you got
Like,
sewer areas.
and they can absolutely like fuck up some concrete like the first like 10 minutes of the series, like you can see the graboid affecting the road underneath the guy whose name I don't know, the one that's driving
Oh, Tyler,
the hot rod,
Tyler Reed, yeah.
and like he sees the guy running and like the graboid is attacking his car from underneath the road. So it's not a stretch to think that they'd be willing to go towards a city where there's a much like higher seismic level because it's a city rather than a small town like Perfection or Bixby. So like the idea of them like going into like golf courses is good. Like you get a couple of snooty golfers who are like really shitty to like their caddies or the towel boys or
You're
servers,
not getting a
and then you
tip,
just
sir. I don't care how well you think you did today.
that's an impression.
I know. I'm eating my olive. Mm.
But I like the idea. The first thought I had when you
It
mentioned
slows you
golf
down,
course,
doesn't it? Like you're like, oh
it
shit.
does.
Now that I guess
Yeah, I have to get past the pickle juice. But
and we're back.
the first thought I have whenever you mention golf courses, like just think like envisioning the thought or the shot that they would have of like this, just like that exact kind of golfer you think of whenever you think of just those shitty people who love golf. Like he like gets like a
Oh please
par or
do it.
something or a
Oh
bogey,
my god. Oh please. Oh
and he's
please.
like just reaching down to grab his
Yes.
ball, and then the grab would just, whoom.
Yes.
And then like his caddy's just like,
Oh,
sir, and then that's whenever
god
the title
damn.
sequence, the Tremors, whatever the like addition to the title would be.
Honestly, I just call it graboids whenever I'm trying to think. It's just graboids. Like that would make a great title. I think that's because they
That would be
can't
good
use
too.
because they
Oh
can't
yeah,
use. Oh my god.
they can't
Sorry,
use
I
the
was
name
so excited
Tremors?
by no. Oh no. No, that's the weirdest thing. So they named the original script that got shopped around was called Beneath Perfection. And that's how the movie was filmed. It's the rap party gifts all fucking say Beneath Perfection on it and everything. And then Universal's like, we can't sell that. That's a fucking dumb name. We gotta change it to something. Earthquake's so big in Japan. Let's go do that. And so now it's called Tremors. But because Universal changed the name, Stampede doesn't have rights to that name. They have rights to the Beneath Perfection name. So we can call it perfection stuff, or that's where to go back to it, graboids. I feel like just all caps, graboids, and then
I think
start
that would
putting
be
after titles on it would be fine.
yeah, like Graboids in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's
That'd be
such
funny.
that would be that's such a niche word. Like, even if you don't know graboids, like if you're just like some person who's never heard of Tremors, and someone's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see graboids in Vegas," you'd be like, is that a porno? Should I join you? I feel like I should. What's a graboid? Why are they in Vegas? What's going on? Like, there's enough to that word that it would get people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, I'll go. Yeah, let's graboids in Egypt. Sure. Why is it in Egypt? Let's go fucking find out. Like, that's.
Yeah, like, so that was the first thought I had in terms of creative direction. And if anyone is listening, like, y'all can have that one for free. Just add both of us to the writing team. No stress there. We'd be happy to join.
Get in line.
Another idea I had is like what's the word I'm looking for? Have you ever played like Far Cry Primal by any chance?
No, I play no video games and I hate it. I love video games. I just have no time.
So Far Cry is more like, it's a Ubisoft game, and the main thing is it's like one of those games where it's like, okay, there's an outpost, go like defeat all the enemies, and then you have the outpost. But it's like first
Gears of
shooter
War
well.
for some reason. Like, that's what like
that's another great game, and also very Tremors-y as well, because
it is.
they have
it has underground
creatures
things
that come from underneath the ground. But like in Far Cry Primal, it's essentially just a regular Far Cry game, but it's set in like prehistoric times. So having a Tremors movie set in prehistoric times where it's like literally cave people and whatnot, I feel like
I have
that
a script.
would be a really cool idea.
So that's actually my idea for an opener to the movie. So I've always wanted, like, the Tremors 8, we're on 7. I would love for Tremors 8 to be called Tremors Ouroboros, and you like do this design with the 8 in the Ouroboros. Like,
I actually have an Ouroboros tattoo.
Because it's all circular, and that's what I love about all of all the Tremors movies and the TV show, is that they're great writing because they're all very circular. Like, they always bring it back around. And my script for the 8 movie, it starts with like them in the prehistoric times. Like, that's it. There's no real dialogue to it. It's just like all of this stuff. It's awesome, and I'm always like, that's my prehistoric Tremor is my point. I have other scripts about like there's like Paleolithic people riding like horses and fighting shriekers and shit, and they all have this language. Like, I want that so bad. Sorry, I have another one where there's a little compy where we do like a David Attenborough thing, and we follow this Compassaurus around, but it's being chased by like a graboid, and like we are like in this little dinosaur's shoes for like however long. Sorry, I'm just going. Stop me. Stop.
No,
this is a great idea. That's my point. I love it.
This is why I think your idea of them having like maybe an animated series would really work, because like you could have like what would you call it? It's like a non-linear storyline where it's like graboids set in different places and times. Like you could have you could have graboids of any place and point in history with an animated series, because you could just animate the activities of happening it with the main theme of like people really need to work together to make these monsters not eat them from underground. So
teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Yeah, I really like that idea of like an animated series, and like there could be like a prehistoric episode. There could be one like, and
you go to space. You go to space. You go to the past. You go to the present. You go over there. You go under. Like,
you can even go multiversal with it.
A graboid shows up as Thanos.
He's just, I'm inevitable.
Now I'm trying. I don't know how graboids would talk. I feel like they'd be very refined people. They seem very erudite to me. I don't know. Pinky's out.
Yeah, they're just hungry. They don't know better.
Listen, I need a little snack today. I'm quite hungry. I had a rabbit, a jackass, and 3 mules. I would like to eat a tourist. Very much.
Delicious.
But no, that's what I look. I've had a lot of time to think about it, so forgive me. Sometimes I just like, help! But there's another thing. I need. Oh, so you've probably seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't have it as a dedicated thing back here, but I really need to get a Charlie wall, like a Pepe Sylvia, like Tremors wall to point at sometimes. Like, look! It's like there is no Carol in HR. It's all connected, Rossbob.
Not only do they exist, but they've been asking where New Tremors content is.
Well, forgive me. My friend Michael Gross was telling me all about it. He's right. Oh my God.
That's amazing. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the.
So I was gonna say, what's your prehistoric idea? That was I interrupted because I got so. What's your actual idea?
The like you said, like it would be difficult to like nail down like real dialogue without it being like offensive or just kind of like just making it English. But you could easily say like it's like a translated, like, you know, they're speaking prehistoric language, but it's in English so you can understand it. But like having like what was that movie that it came out not too long ago? I want to say it's like it was like 2000 BC or probably larger than that.
Oh,
but
10,000 BC.
10,000 BC.
I saw that in theaters.
Something along the lines of that, where it's like, you know, like maybe like a nomadic tribe or one that's like more stationary, and then they're dealing with like graboids, like some of their people are going missing, and they like being nomadic, they probably already set up in places where they're kind of safe from graboids, but they're starting to realize like livestock's going missing, like farming areas are starting to get disrupted.
They're
People
going
are
on a
starting
hunt.
to go missing.
They're like trying to hunt a woolly mammoth, and as they're like someone's going to get like the killing blow, it gets taken down by like a graboid. Sorry, I'm now you're just giving
like
me images.
all
My
of
brain's
those,
like, oh yeah.
And the reason I like that idea so much is because like just like from you and I talking about it, like we're already thinking of like cool action scenes from that, like like some nomadic like indigenous tribe like going on a
spear
hunt.
Motherfucker,
like they like because they took down mammoths. Those were not easy to take down. Just like a graboid is not easy to take down. So,
and seeing that terror, that's what I love about new people, like to go all that like 10,000 BC back, they have no frame of reference to that. That would become basically like a new god to them. Like that's the god of the underworld, like that eats people and swallows them whole, like the stories that would get told and like passed on through that.
Exactly. Like, and I'm not quite sure when the last ice age was. It's probably a bit further back than 10,000 BC. But that would also set up like I know that they're not able to like fall in line with the current Tremors movies, like an ice age where they're talking about the polar ice caps melting. Like those things can contribute to, like, you can draw ideas from those movies without necessarily referencing them or violating any of those like legalese that they have to avoid.
I have thought about that a lot, where it's like you can just reference, oh hey, you know that time up in Canada, or hey, remember that one guy with the thing and the stuff. Like it's really super easy. Like a good writer can do it like just like that.
Yeah, and like you said with like vampires, like people who don't even know like the true lore of vampires, they know like enough about them. Like the audience is smart enough to know.
Garlic, sunlight. Like we at least have those three.
Like graboids are like kind of simplistic in that way too. Like they're, you know, subterranean worms that eat you when they hear you and whatnot. Yep. So that's not a difficult concept for newcomers to, oh, what's happening? We're being too loud. Oh no.
It's pretty easy to see. My nephews are young and even they get it when they notice noise. You know, they're like that T-Rex.
And that like the reason I like the prehistoric one is because that's back when humans weren't like, you know, apex predators. That's when they were like, you know, becoming the apex predator, but it took a lot of trial and error, a lot of generations of people that did not make it because they ate a berry that was poisonous or drank water that wasn't filtered and stuff like that. So like I feel as though that if they were going to go in that direction, like that would be a really cool way to like kind of like employ like human nature of trying to protect your like tribe, your community as well. And because that's what humans have always needed in order to thrive and be successful, is to rely on others.
Listen, there's only 5 pages of that script and you basically just described everything I did in it, and I just appreciate you so much. Like it's just like all of that family and community and, you know, trying to stand up for others, all of it. It's just so beautiful.
And That's what that's what made me laugh. Like before I'd watched Tremors, like I was just like I didn't really know much about it. I knew like of Earl and Val just from like
From pop
screenshots of
culture
it from
zeitgeist. Yeah,
pop
I was gonna say
culture.
yeah,
Yeah, like I've
yeah.
seen plenty of like Val and Earl like grabs anytime Tremors would get brought up, but I didn't know anything about it. And like even though like I'd had the influence of like the Tremors saga group being like this is what it's about, like I would have come to that conclusion regardless because that is so apparent that that's the premise of the movie is yeah, this overwhelming threat, we can take care of it if we stick together, if we trust one another. That's it. That's every movie.
There's two books. There's two like real, actual, thick, physical books written on Tremors. One by a guy from Scotland and another from a guy from Spain, and that's literally their conclusion too. Every time it's like, how do you not get the community theme out of like that is the biggest one. It is like glaring. It is right there.
I think we could chalk that up to like I feel as though like American audiences in particular and other places as well. Like we're not conditioned to really have much media literacy in the way we absolutely should. Like if you really like boil almost every show down to the nitty-gritty of it, feels as though like most artists, most writers and like creators, they have that sense of community in their lives and that
Oh
comes
yeah,
through in the
yeah.
works that they produce. And so like pretty much any form of me like any show, TV and whatnot, like you
I'm literally.
can see
Can I,
these things.
can I go through? Sorry, my brain just like started thinking of like my favorite shows: Stargate, Bob's Burgers, Community, Family Ties, The Office. All of these things, even though they're disparate. Firefly, they're all about these communities, these little pockets of people that love each other and care for each other. Sorry, you just made me, and I was just like, oh, that,
Yeah.
oh, that, oh, that, boom, 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 boom. So
Yeah,
I gotta
and
stop, but it was just like,
like
yeah, boom, boom, boom.
yeah, and even if like that's not like the I guess foundation of something, you still see it in shows like even like we were talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That show is supposed to be about just awful people who just are
Oh,
constantly getting shit on because
they
of
are.
their bad choices. But they still like stick around with each other, but they're just
Yep.
not learning the lessons of like being in
I
society.
just don't think he's even hearing us. Like, the guy just doesn't get it, like, at all.
We're talking about you.
I know. But
So
it's
like
even then, like Seinfeld. There's another one where those are terrible people, but they there's that
yeah.
close knitness. Like that's the
Like that's what I've always said. Like I like It's Always Sunny more than I like Seinfeld, but yeah, It's Always
same.
Sunny is just
Same.
it's just like Gen X / millennial Seinfeld.
Well, it's dialed up like to 11. I'm just like,
Yeah,
and
it's
I love
brought
that
to the
through
absurd levels.
I love that through the years you can sense like the main three, like Rob and Charlie and Mac, like their frustration that people aren't getting it, and they're like, no, we're going to ramp this up more. If you're not getting that we're terrible people, we can go harder. I can go lower. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to, Charlie, but I can. I can go lower. Why is white trash about this? Sorry, now you got me on the. God damn it! I'm gonna eat a handful.
That's what I've always really liked about It's Sunny, and even the creators like Rob McElhenney, Gwen Howerton, and Charlie Day, they talk about it on their podcast constantly. Like you're not supposed to want to be like these people; they're bad people, and they use that satirized version of like the traditional like, hey, we're a small group of misfits that like we run a bar in Philly, like that's the vessel. But really it's like even in like season 2 whenever the Israeli guy like shows up and is like taking over a portion of the bar, that is like at the time when I first saw that, I had no idea like what to think about like Israel Palestine relationships, but that was a very very clever and honestly kind of like a very ballsy take to have, especially at that time, because it's like the conflict being like the way it is, like they have this Israeli dude and they're trying so hard not to be anti-Semitic, but the guy is just an asshole. and it's
Yeah,
not because
he's
he's Jewish. It's because he's an asshole.
Okay, can
And
I
like,
admit that I'm only just now realizing there's subtext to that episode? I am I feel really fucking stupid.
and then they
I'm sorry.
literally
I feel really
they throw a
stupid.
flaming bag of poop in his window, and they
They
literally
do.
blow up his thing,
Oh.
and that's a vessel to kind of like shed some insight into the actual conflict between like Israel and Palestine, which to me is like that's the best kind of writing, where
Oh my
you
god.
take a serious concept and you make it palatable, where people can laugh at it and they can actually kind of understand a little bit more nuance behind these more difficult things that people often shy away from talking about. Like Ed Trimmers also does that very well. I feel like they're a little bit more like down low with their metaphors than It's Always Sunny,
I was gonna
but
say,
it's kind of
I'm trying
hard not to be when it comes to
to.
them. So yeah, like
Whew, man. Burt Gummer's a real anti-Semite. We all know that one. Am I right, folks? God, why do I keep going back to that Jew well? Don't say Jew well. Oh my God, Jesus.
my word.
Uh,
But like, and that's the funny thing I find about like I enjoy so many different shows and movies, and like that's one of the things that like I've always been interested is I want to know what the writer is really telling me. Like I want to understand those themes, because like that's really the point of it. That's why art is subjective. It's supposed to invoke some feeling
mhm.
about an issue at least. And Tremors does it well because they kind of use, campy, underground monsters, ass blasters, shriekers, the whole nine yards. And it's usually to kind of like it's in the setting of like something that's usually very much like a cultural issue like we discussed earlier. And like it takes a clever writer to be able to pull that off without being sanctimonious or it just flying right over everyone's head.
Like the one I think you're really making me think of is just Tremors 4, with that there is this like class versus lower class theme of that movie, and that to the point where for Hiram's character to change, he must lose that part. Like, and there's a slow like first it's the cufflinks, or actually no, first
Yeah.
it's the bike. He gives the bike to Fu Yin and realizes the importance of that, like fostering, helping him to like ride and teaching a smaller after he did the gingerbread cake thing, which is just one of my favorite. Just like that is God, that is so good. You're a bastard, but that is really good. And then the cufflinks to give to the gunslinger, and then eventually where he ends. This is my favorite line in all of Tremors. Like everybody else has like critical need to know information
Yeah, the
or
one
the red
liners.
room or stuff. But for me, like my all-time favorite line in all of Tremors is when he rolls up at the end and he pulls his little pocket watch out, like to show that he's like he doesn't have it. And then a wise friend once told me, it's not important how you spend your money, but how you spend your life. And it's just like
Beautiful.
because it goes off of
I
what
almost started crying when I heard that
no,
one because
it's
that's
so
so
good.
good.
And she hit him with it earlier in a very sarcastic sense, like, it's not important how you spend your money, but how you spend it. So for him to take that lesson, strip himself of everything to bring stuff to the town is a literal class metaphor of like all of
Absolutely.
everything, all of this stuff up here. It doesn't mean shit when we all need each other down here. And
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
I think like now that you mention, I think that is why I really liked Legend Begins so much, because Hiram literally goes through the hero's journey where he has like
Yeah.
a full on like death of ego as well.
Yeah.
Like whenever like he's gonna get on the train and whatnot, and then he just like kind of it kind of reminded me of Gandalf from The Hobbit whenever like he's saying, "What brought you back?" and he says, "Oh, looking back." Like, where did you go? I was looking forward. What brought you back? I looked back. And I feel, oh yeah, that's an impression, but
It does.
like I feel like that's essentially kind of what he did as well, because he was gonna be going back to a life where he was clearly unhappy. Like he seemed very isolated. He didn't have to like deal with people in that way.
He didn't.
And
Now that you say that, like he didn't like go back. Like he decided now. I'm now realizing that whatever life he had in Philadelphia, he must have been unmarried, or maybe he just got a divorce. Sorry, now my brain's like, what was Hiram's life in Philadelphia? Like now I'm just like,
like if we can put it into modern terms, I think the best like comparison, he kind of came across as that like I'm a nice guy. Why doesn't people like me?
yeah,
But is
yeah.
also kind of like a crypto bro in a way too.
Mm.
Because like he was the owner of a silver mine, and
Yeah.
so like like literally all of his wealth and his value stems from other people's hard work. And so when he actually gets there because people are leaving in droves, it's almost as if like you can't just ignore the fact that you need people in your
Yeah,
life,
there's a great
and
line
he
later,
didn't have
like
that in Philadelphia.
where they're sitting by the fire. Him and Juan are sitting by the fire, and like Juan is sharing his dreams with Hiram, and he says to Hiram, he's like, you look like a man who had like one of everything, and Hiram drops well, two of everything actually, and
Yeah.
Juan just pulls this really smooth like, well, I would just like to get one of something, and it's like, ooh,
Oh,
and like Michael's like, there's this little like, ooh, okay, yeah, that's a ouch,
yeah,
like
like
that was well barbed, that was right to my soul there, Juan, way to go.
I absolutely loved the cast of Legend Begins too. Like Juan was incredible. Like the entire cast was great because that's what Hiram really like. He needed to see that diversity as well. Like you have Asian representation, you have Native
Native
American representation,
American,
you have
Mexican representation,
like a woman. There
Irish
was
woman. I
like
always assumed
an
she was
Irish
Irish.
woman,
That was yeah.
and you have the Asian family who literally was like the ancestors of the general store in the first movie. So like one of the things like someone was commenting whenever I was making the Legend Begins memes is how communist that was of Hiram to like invest in the town, because if he hadn't done that, like he like through his efforts, it made perfection stay viable
For
until I guess
100 years, at
for a
least. Yeah,
hundred years until
yeah,
the events of the third movie,
yeah.
and like even further beyond that, because then he takes over the general store eventually in Cold Day in Hell.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, the efforts of the Gummer family, that's peak communism right
Yeah.
there, because he took his incredible wealth and dispersed it amongst the town.
Instead
That
of a
gave them
library, he made a town.
generational wealth. Like he provided generational wealth for the town of Rejection that turned it into perfection. Like you can't get more on the nose than that.
literally turned it.
So like I think that's why I really liked that one. Like it really stood out more because one, the Western nostalgia, but that character development is something that you don't really get to see with Burt Gummer, because like Burt Gummer is the badass like
as
graboid killer, but Hiram wasn't.
as much as I love like all the Tremors movie, like and even the show, there's only one other time you get close to like a character arc with somebody, and that's in the first movie with Kevin Bacon as Val having his
Yeah.
character arc of like being attracted to all kinds of women, which is, I mean, I don't know if I really call that too much of a character. It technically is one. He did change, but it's still like you don't get that real growth like you get from high. That's a very like
Yeah.
deliberate
Like
arc all the
and
way through.
yeah, and even in A Cold Day in Hell, where Val's daughter comes into play, like Bert even says, like, "Oh yeah, your dad is one of the greatest underachievers I've ever met,"
It's
and
actually
stuff
a
like
line
that.
from the script. Actually, hold on. So I have to say this because it's really good. It's actually a direct line from the very first script, and it's 100% Michael. I know Michael said this on purpose. Because it's written like the character description when Val comes onto the scene is Valentine McKee, 30s ish, the most brilliant underachiever you've ever seen. Like, and it's
Yeah,
so when like Bert says it, I'm like, hold on, I see that, Michael. You read your script, you read your whole script, didn't you? Not just your parts. You read everything.
that's amazing. So, like, yeah, in terms of that, like, I feel like Hiram out of the entire franchise, he definitely has the most character development in a single movie. Like Bert has character development in small ways. Like he kind of understands like you guys are idiots, but you don't deserve to die
Yeah,
because of
just
it. That's
yeah.
kind of his general vibe.
He's very
But
static,
like
like very very static.
yeah, and I wouldn't even go so far as to say Valentine didn't have character development, but it pales in comparison to that of like
It's
Hiram's because it's such a like monumental shift in like ideologies as well. Like Valentine's ideologies didn't really change in the
no.
first movie. He just kind of recognized like I want to get the fuck out of perfection. Let's go to Bixby, and then like literally every obstacle imaginable keeps him from
I
going.
just wanted to get my dick wet.
I just want to go to Bixby because I want to see some titties.
That was Bill Cosby in Tremors. Everybody, Bill Cosby. Weirdly enough, the closest you get, well, actually, there's Tyler Reed in the TV show actually becomes a hero, and Larry. There's some of that in the TV show, but the closest you get with the movies is Jamie Kennedy's character in Tremor 6, and that him becoming a leader. I love that moment of him like putting everything on where he's like, I'm the Bert,
I'm
the
gonna be
glass,
Bert.
your TMZ, FOB, HLPM, MenoQ, and it's he's still obviously he's still his character like Travis,
Yeah,
but he's trying to step into that leader role, like he's
yeah,
like
like
forcing his character development in a way. It still works. Like I don't hate it. I like it.
I now that you mention it, I do feel as though Jamie Kennedy's character does go through a good like character arc in terms of like at first he's going in there, sorry anyone, spoilers. Like he's going into like meeting Bert because he's trying to like connect with his father. Like he
Yeah.
knows what he does, he knows like who he's been throughout his life. So it's not a stretch for him to like reach out and like utilize the skills that he'd had to like convince him to team up. But you can tell that like from the get go, whenever he's just like, "What do you know about me in Florida in the '70s?" and he's just kind of like, "I don't know."
What?
and
Florida.
and like I like the only thing that I really had against like is that's the first time anyone really acknowledges Bert as like right wing, so to
Oh
speak.
yeah, the far
Like
right
it's
meets far
yeah, the
left, and
far
they
right
spend the
meets
night.
far
Yeah,
left thing.
yeah.
And all like I felt like that was kind of cheesy.
It feels
Like
like it's just a line. It feels very just
yeah,
like, hey, throwing out this generalization sort
yeah,
of.
that generalization that was like the main issue I had with it because like it gives like right wingers, you know, a line to kind of like throw out. Well,
They said it.
they
They
said
said he
he's
was far
right
right.
wing.
It's
And it's like, well, yeah, right wing back in the '70s
Even
is
honestly,
not
right wing
right
in
wing now.
2015 was very different. Like, let's be honest, there, folks.
Yeah,
Even
like there was at
10
least
years ago.
some form of civility behind it, even though they wanted terrible things. They didn't outright say they wanted terrible things.
Yeah.
And like that's what I like really liked about Bert as a character as well, is because he kind of embodied what like would envision as like old school Republican, like the
Yeah.
ones who aren't really pieces, like like Dwight Eisenhower and whatnot, like the people
Ron
who
Paul.
were,
I always
I
see he's not
I
a
don't mind Ron
Republican
Paul.
though. But I just think of Ron Paul as like good.
But like yeah, so like I feel like those are kind of like a dying breed in terms of like people who are like Burt Gummers because Burt Gummer's a good old boy.
Yeah.
Like he stands on business, like he stands up for his community in a way that Republicans kind of used to do, but obviously don't now. And so like it really like whenever you get to Shrieker Island and he's literally a hermit on an island, it like my head canon going into it is like I know that Michael Gross like switched his hat like for personal
Because he likes
reason.
the
It wasn't
Cubs. Yep.
yeah
Yeah.
because he likes the Cubs. Michael Gross likes the Cubs and he wanted to
I
have
hate
that in
that
there.
decision. I love you, Michael, but I fucking hate that decision so fucking much. Sorry. Continue.
But like before I looked into like I actually Googled it. It was like why did they change his hat? Why? Is
Just
it because he
because.
didn't want to be one of those red hats? And I feel like that may have had some because everyone's just like, "What? Did you change teams?" And it's right after this movie where they said
Yeah.
he's right wing,
Yeah.
and now he's wearing a blue hat instead of like a reddish hat. And like so
I
that
see,
kind
I
of
see, I see.
to
Hold
me
on,
that
yeah.
kind of felt somewhat intentional. It was easy enough to say like Michael
Okay.
Gross likes the Cubs, so he wanted that in there, but it's not too much of a stretch to think that Michael Gross did not want to be associated with a particular type of person who also wears, hats
Well,
with red on them.
they're more like brown. The ones
Yeah,
that
like
guy's
his
got
hat
all
is
in white. It's not,
like
but it's hard. It's hard to pull out. You really want to go opposite direction on that one.
yeah,
Like,
and I wouldn't go so far as to say that they were like trying to, oh yeah, no, they're blue instead of red, but it definitely felt like a decision was made
yeah,
in certain ways.
there
But
feels like
that's
there was a
also
decision
speculation on my part.
slowly made, like in the course of 5 years. Like I said, going from 2015 to 2020, there was 3 movies made, and it feels like right after, like they went hard with the fifth movie in marketing, trying to pander to that, like that sort of crowd. They thought they were going for regular Republicans, and then 2016 happened, and so then you can start to feel that in like
There's a
Cold Day
shift.
in Hell, where they're like, oh, we need to like go away from those people,
The
and
ice
then
caps are melting
yeah, and then to all the way
because
to
of climate
Island, we're like,
change.
yeah, then you know what? That's not what are you talking about. Bert's totally cool, guys. Everything's fine. You're like, this is on
Yeah.
you, Universal. This is how you marketed it. Don't blame the rest of us. This is what you were doing.
Yeah, I made a meme where like because like I was talking about people co-opting him, and so it was just like, oh, right wingers want to co-opt Burt Gummer. Speak fluent Spanish, cabrones.
Yeah,
Bienvenidos a Grabwood
Good
County.
holidays.
Like because like that's the funny thing too is like you can't try to like say a character is for you and be like he's so important to us and then have none of his values. Like
Right?
all you
That's
like
the
is that he has
has
guns.
guns. So I have to say, so for a bit of lore for like what you're coming into, there used to be this meme page called Burt Gummer's Subterranean Meme Stash. And before it got zucked in like 2022, 2023, it had like 90,000 followers. And the actually I have become good friends with the guy that created it. And it was a right-leaning Burt Gummer meme page. But what I always loved about it was that it wasn't what we're talking about with that stereotypical MAGA. It was someone that actually did understand like the core values of Burt and was using memes to like they're leaned right, just like the comrade ones lean left. This one just leaned right, but they were still understood the core values of the character to like you're going to focus on guns and do that. Really, this is if you really wanted to be Burt Gummer, you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere. Fucking like, what are politics? Burt Gummer doesn't give a shit about politics. Fuck you. Goodbye.
See, that right there is exactly what I appreciate about Burt Gummer. Like, and I keep bringing up Shrieker Island and him being a hermit. Like, it really just feels like that seems like someone who was conservative, but he's not like one of those conservatives that's like, oh, the government shouldn't tread on me whenever a president I like is in there. It's the government should fuck off completely.
Yeah. So there's actually a series of videos with Michael Gross, and Michael wrote these, and they came out around the same time that Shrieker Island did, where he's running for president. Like Burt Gummer is running for president. Like Gummertarians vote for 2020,
That's
and
amazing.
his whole spiel is that like both sides suck, and I hate both of them. But I have now had to come out of retirement, and I am henceforth putting myself down as a presidential candidacy. And he has like 8 videos. They're like
So
3-4 minutes long, but it's very much that of just like he doesn't care like that. Whether you're a
yeah,
Democrat or a Republican, are you a shitty person? And fuck off, fuck you. Like it's a
yeah,
great
like
core
that's what I've
value to
liked.
hold.
That's exactly what I liked about Burt Gummer is like he's what centrists want to be. Where like like if you break
I
it
have a
down
meme
into like
idea.
Democrats and Republicans, like my personal opinion, and I feel like a lot of people can like agree with this sentiment is our political spectrum, at least in America, has very much like even the left is very right now, and any like aspect of like left like representation is either just completely grossly misrepresented or it's just like kind of like meh. And
Yeah.
so the reason it's easy to believe Burt Gummer to be a centrist, he's like what a true centrist should
Yeah.
be. He doesn't want any hippies bothering him. He doesn't want a bunch of bigots and assholes bothering him. He wants to be left the fuck alone
Look
and
at where
stop
he's
dealing with
living.
people's
Like,
shit.
look where he
He
chose
lives in
to
the
live.
middle of
It's just-
nowhere, with minorities as his neighbors. Like he clearly isn't one to shy away from having minorities as close friends and his community. So that's
He
already
goes.
a strike
He goes
against
to
the right wing
Mexico and
ideology.
Argentina twice to specifically help Mexican people.
Exactly.
They're Argentinians. What is wrong? That was really racist. Oh my
Yeah,
god! I'm just
that's
Jewel Flackies. What is wrong with me?
yeah, that's the thing that I think a lot of people who identify with him just in terms of he likes guns. It's like no, he doesn't just he likes his guns, and he also wants the government to fuck off. He wants people to live their lives and not be eaten by Precambrian subterranean creatures. That's not something really that you're gonna see from Democrats or Republicans, that kind of attitude. They kind of fall in line with what is acceptable rather than what's right. Like that Overton window that people reference a lot. And I think Burt Gummer's Overton window was so set in place as a very centrist ideology where people should be free to live how they want to live. I think that's what makes him such a compelling character, because he really doesn't give a shit about your political leanings. He wants to stop graboids. He doesn't want anyone to get killed by graboids because he hates graboids.
You nailed that with one of your first memes when you actually watched Tremors 2, was that this is a guy that could have he's in a divorce, his life is spiraling. This is a guy that could have done a lot worse. All right, he's got a bunch of guns. He's got a really messed up attitude about we're very lucky that Burt Gummer decided to go after graboids, whether that's a metaphor or not. We're very lucky that happened.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people that say they like him who are more right leaning, in those situations, those toxic tendencies tend to come out. And you could see that from any type of toxic person, where as soon as the shit gets real, you kind of see their character. And you don't see him writing hate mail to the government. You don't see him being shitty towards his ex-wife. And she took his favorite gun, but he also wasn't oh, she's a bitch, I hate her.
Yeah, no, he doesn't frame it there's
he
there's
never
a
frames
straight
it
up,
like that. And that's such a that is such a thing that you don't expect to see in a mid-90s movie either. Because
right,
back then
it feels like they're made yesterday. When you watch him, you're like, this is very, very progressive.
Exactly, that was such a progressive stance for him to take. And I get the writers probably were well, we don't want it to be oh, Reba left and now her character's a bitch because of it.
Yeah.
You can tell that they probably had some meetings where they really wanted to kind of nail down how Burt would have responded to something like that.
Yeah,
there was a lot of thought that went into it.
There's actually Kevin and Reba were in the original script for the Tremors too. They were going to be there, and they basically, when they weren't, then they kind of condensed their dialogue and moved it around and stuff. But it's still very much it's there.
Same with Earl. He doesn't mind that Val went off to go get married.
Val married a good woman. Why would he want to die? That's such a of course.
That's such a Earl Bassett line.
Why would he want to die?
So essentially, Earl and Bert are both going through breakups of their own, and and they channel that energy into graboid hunting because they're all
to the point
broke.
where I'll have to find the image. My friend Ben, the one that made the comic, made a meme once that side by side comparison Earl and Bert, and that they're both, when we first get introduced to their characters, they're both sitting in chairs, just looking at there's pictures of their lovers next to them, and they're just sitting there sad.
They're just
it's both of them. It's not single. It's both Bert and Earl. When you see I miss you, I love you. It's really sad.
I know why you left, but I miss you so much.
I miss your touch. I miss your
But yeah, like I also love how in each movie they're like each of them have very progressive themes in it. Like and Back to Perfection, the very first person that gets eaten is a dude who has very rapey vibes,
Very
who's
rapey.
mad at the woman for rejecting him, and he brandishes a knife to frighten her, and he gets eaten ass first. And it's just like, oh, thank you for Tremors for not allowing a person of color to be the very first person to get killed in your monster movie.
In fact,
Like,
we actually go through 4 white people before a Mexican person dies. So score. Way to
and
go.
like, and that's actually novel for the time because like even Jurassic Park went out of their way to have a black person get eaten first, and I think Jurassic Park 2, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact movie, but yeah, like it was a common theme that
No,
like
you're thinking
black
of
people.
3 where the Nash gets eaten, like the black guy
Yes,
gets eaten
the
in the
three,
plane. Yeah.
and like that was a very consistent theme that like a lot of movies kind of just followed without really thinking. And it's refreshing to see that they broke that pattern. And not only did they break that pattern, they made an actual bad person be the first to get eaten.
Yeah. Oh
In
yeah.
Tremors 3. Like that's refreshing to see. Like just like it'd be refreshing to see like some shitty golfer get eaten from
Just right.
like eaten in the back nine. Like
Hole in one.
yeah, I can already hear the one liner now, just like, now that's a hole in one. Like have Jamie Kennedy come back and say that line.
And then now that I'm thinking in Tremors 4, now all of the people that die are white, and there are no people of color that die. Huh, interesting. That's a good one. That's a good one. Down with
Yeah,
Whitey.
like
Okay.
yeah, just like in Black Sheep with Chris Farley. Down with Whitey. No. We're gonna get canceled now. But it's okay.
That Jewel. I'm gonna keep saying it because I don't know why I said it earlier. Jewel. I don't.
Yeah, like you're just like putting your foot in your mouth about those, and I'm just like, yeah, death to Whitey.
Yeah, it's fine. It's my
With
job. I have to
balance.
take the fire off of you. I'm the lightning rod. It's like, no, Rossbob's not a racist. Levi's a racist. Total racist.
Well, you should work on that. Put in the time and effort. But
I
I know
I
that
thought I
it's just
did.
misspeaking.
Wow, I'm
playing. Like I
trying
do feel
my
like
best.
that's something that is a consistent thing to always work on, and
Oh my
even
gosh,
though you have said
no,
things that you
okay.
feel ashamed
Actually,
of, you
I know what it is.
recognize that.
No. I have to do this. I have to do this. So I was cleaning the kitchen today, and oh my god, I gotta say this. This is really bad. I was cleaning the kitchen today, and whenever I buy a gift for Caitlin, I write Amazon notes like that. Like they can let you write little notes. And there was one that I had like set up somewhere just as a little like, oh, that's a cute little reminder. And oh my god, I really am afraid to say this, but I gotta say this. It said, "Nigga babe, I love you," and I was like, oh my god. I forgot that we used to like call each other that. Like that was our cute little like it's listen. I'm not gonna say it again. I'm gonna spell it out. Nigga babe, like literally written on this scrap of paper, and I was like,
Maybe it's time to retire the.
Yep, and I did, and I went and I put it someplace. I didn't throw it away because it was like, nope.
I need to own that.
Yep, that's a good reminder.
Like,
but I was like, whoopsie daisies.
And that's important work to do for yourself as well, because like the thing I hate most about when people are like,
I felt
swear
bad
I'm
in that
not
moment.
racist.
I was like, yeah,
like I hate it when people are like, oh, I'm not racist, and then they'll say the massive but, and then they'll just go on to explain exactly how they're racist. Like
that's why I had to be like, maybe I am racist. I don't know why we did that. Actually, I have 6 like half black nephews. My sister only dates black guys, so like black guys are just in and around us all the time.
Yeah,
and I think
my
that was
niece is biracial.
Yeah, so I think that was our like way of like, okay, we can do this too. We're a part of this. We're sort of white. We're quarter white or quarter black. Yeah, baby. It's not. I'm sorry. There's no justification for this. For anybody listening, there's no that I'm now canceled. I'm going to hell for this. I'm really. really sorry. But it's about the work. To go back to that, you're always trying to.
And that, like, to bring that like theme back into Tremors is like one of the things you notice like right off the bat is like it's not a racial issue for them either. Everyone's in trouble, so everyone gets seen kind of situation. And the quickest thing to make people look past like racial prejudices or uh misconceptions that have been like generational like misinformation is having a situation that requires people to be like on the same team about things, and like that's what like I really genuinely enjoyed. Like I saw it the most in Legend Begins, and also saw it in Bloodlines as well, where it really didn't matter who was in trouble. Like even Burt Gummer even tried to save, the prize hunter guy from
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
eaten. Like you could be an evil piece of shit, but
Like
even
the
Burt
guy that
Gummer,
actually the guy that tried to kill him, put him in a cage, brought him here. Oh, that graboid's are trying to attack him, and he's still shooting. Like he's still trying to save the guy. Like that's
yeah, like that's peak Burt Gummer, and that's what made me love him so much because, like, you can tell, like, he probably was one of those people that probably had a dad who was like probably racist, or he had his own misconceptions about certain things. It's not a stretch to believe that a dude who lives out in the middle of nowhere might be a little racist, but the way that they circumvent that is by having like minorities being, cornerstones of perfection. Like even like someone who's just like about people who aren't white, like it's refreshing to see someone who's in that situation not be he's just the racist character that we have to
yeah.
convince to help people. No, he was like full bars from the
Yeah,
get-go.
to convince you
Didn't
guys
care
to
at
do
all.
something.
He was like, yeah, let's fuck them up. You broke into the goddamn rec room, the wrong rec room. Like all those are just so great. And like that's what I really appreciate about the franchise is he doesn't care who you are. You're in trouble, he's gonna help you.
There's a
And it was
great.
also refreshing to see Michael Gross say that himself as well.
It's he can't stop saying it, and I'm so happy. Thank. It's so nice that Tremors has someone at its head that is of that
Yeah, he
caliber.
is the voice of authority on the matter,
He
and
is.
no one can argue that.
I love his Instagram because he's really mad right now. He's very good. But there's one moment I think of. It's really weird that one of my favorite Burt moments comes from Shrieker Island, and it goes to with what you said, where Richard Brake's character is like a total asshole. He's the bad guy of the movie, and set the graboids, didn't listen to
He
Burt.
genetically modified and breeded them.
Yeah, all of these terrible.
That's super villain shit.
Look, have you not watched Jurassic Park, motherfucker? Come on, we've got
Exactly.
6 going on 7 movies. Why this is a bad idea. But like he does all of these terrible things, and yet Bert goes over to his camp, like near the end of the movie, to try to save the people. To the physical point of like, are you the only one left? Yeah, I'm the fucking alpha, and I'm surviving. He's fucking shooting the water, and like he's begging. He's literally like, just come on, just like we'll just come with me. Like let's get out of here. And the guy's like, no, it like doesn't, and then obviously gets taken down. And then Bert is still,
and then Bert is like literally, he's literally doing the like Rose and Jack move from Titanic. Like, don't let me go. Like, and that
you're
just
gonna
like
grow up. You're gonna have a lot of little babies, Richard Brake. Promise me. Promise me.
And that's genuinely what I just love about Bert's character is like like you don't see that very often. Well, you do see it, but you don't see it in characters like Bert often, where that's like true like hero level.
I was gonna say
like
heroism,
archetype,
literal heroism. Yeah,
like saving someone who is like saving someone despite them being reprehensible. It's almost like, hey, like if you survive this, maybe you'll grow from this experience. Like it's almost like anyone is capable of redeeming themselves, and if Burt Gummer can see that, then anyone should be able to see that. Dude
It's
lived
why
on an island by himself, growing a
one of my
Gandalf beard,
one
and
of my
still sees
biggest
that.
one of my biggest things for like if Stampede got like a bunch more, if they got full rights to Tremors back and were to make, or somebody was that like Melvin deserves a redemption arc. Like out of everybody, like that guy is a little shit and he does terrible things, but like he still deserves a redemption arc. Because I always think that like, man, he had a really shitty childhood. He was already getting left in town by himself or whatever. And then the
Yeah.
fucking giant worms attacked. And people were still giving him shit and wanting to use him as bait and like giving him empty guns and shit. And I bet he's just traumatized forever by this. He's, filling that hole with, different things because he's got problems. But if we were to like wind that clock back a little bit, I think some of those problems started in 1989. And I blame that
That's
town a
fair.
little bit.
That's absolutely fair. Like
I've always wanted to. You talk about redemption. Like I'd love for Bert and Melvin to have a good final story together, and like redeem
that would
Melvin
be.
as a character.
By the way, I do have since I haven't watched the series. Where does that fall in between each movie?
Tremors 3.
So
like
after
right after
Tremors
Tremors
3 and before
Tremors 5.
Bloodlines.
Yep.
Since 4 is a prequel, so it takes place between Back to Perfection and Bloodlines.
So that's where the like for me it's not even hate. It's just like, oh, why did you do that? Because in real time of watching Tremors, and we all as a collective fandom, we had Tremors the series. That was our last in 2003. That was where we last understood the story was. And there's a very there's this great tight-knit community. Everything's perfect. Like you could just keep that going. When they pick it back up with Bloodlines, those of us in the fandom that were like watching all the way through, like, okay, what is this? What are you doing?
What's going on?
Where
are we?
What the fuck is this? What happened to all those people? To the point there when in Tremors 6, where like we go to Perfection and we see the town, and it's really hard for me personally.
It's like abandoned.
It's like there's tons of houses and buildings and everything, and they're all gone. They're all fucking gone. And I know because they didn't have the money to build. I understand this. However, I'm like, oh my God, all of those people, are they dead? What happened? Where did they go? Why is this happening? So there's just a little background, just as it's once you get to the end of the series, you'll probably understand what I mean. We're like, oh, like why didn't you just keep doing this? Like you'd be like, wait, that was fine. Why did we stop that? That seems okay. Like,
well,
yeah.
Who does Universal also own the rights to the
every
series?
Single fucking
everything
thing
after
not Tremors 1. It's not your fault. It's just like everything.
Here, well, I'll go ahead and grab a pickle because
that was yeah. So I'm going to admit that we did not get to like any of my questions, and I don't care. No. We've gone
rapid
far.
fire edition.
Oh Jesus Christ! When's the last time you cried? Was it
2 days ago? I was crying at an episode of Firefly.
Ooh, which one?
The if you can't run, you crawl. If you can't crawl, you find someone to carry you line always gets me. It's heart-wrenching, and I had to make a meme out of it. Like, that was such a good series.
I didn't kill you. I just carried the bullet.
I just carried the bullet for a while. But yeah, like when he's crying, it's like when you can't run, you crawl, and when you can't do that no more, you get someone to carry you. Waterworks for me. It's such a poignant line, and absolutely gets me every time. That's the last time I cried. 2 days ago watching Firefly.
Oh wow! I'm trying to think. I think mine was Doctor Who. It was
Doctor Who will do it.
It's really. Have you watched any of Shooty yet?
I'm not very like. I think the last.
It was a thing with like
Capaldi. It was one.
It was a thing with like Doctor Who fans in the narrative itself, and I cried.
I mean, like, I cried at John Hurt's like mini movie where he's just like, no more. Like, holy
No
shit, John
more.
Hurt, you tell us, no more.
Great men are forged in
To the
fire.
fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame.
And once we got it together, it's just worth it. I'll drink to that.
I love that line so much, and honestly, like that is kind of an element that I bring to my shit posting sometimes, where it's just like I got tired of toxic internet culture and was just like, no more,
No more.
no more.
That was
Oh,
me
yeah.
with the Tremor Saga group. Was it's just like, no, there needs to be something else. Like there has to be a counter balance to this. Like there's a listen. I'm gonna be honest. We need to have a meme war with the official Tremors franchise fans group. I don't know how, but they're not great people, and I just want to take them down with memes because that's actual censorship. Like there are right wingers that come at me personally for the censorship of what I'm supposed to do in a group, and I'm like, you literally get censored over in that group all the time, and you have no idea. You have zero idea.
Like there are a couple of groups that I stay in, even if they're like problematic, and occasionally I'll post memes in them. But the criticism I get that I think is the funniest is if it's clearly something that's like more left leaning or something. They'll like the don't censor me crowd has no problem censoring people.
Yep.
And so like I'd rather take the heat from like 1,000 commenters than have some admin being like, you can't post that here because we don't like it. It's just like, okay, dude, like
Just fuck off and
you
die.
have
Just
an
fuck
issue
off and
with
die.
anybody doing that to you, but you have no problem at all doing it to other people.
So these people are they can just post guns. Literally, all they're doing is here's a picture of a gun and then writing the words, I like Burt Gummer. And that's fine. That's totally okay.
Yeah.
But the minute I introduce an idea that might be like LGBTQ censored as a meme, you gotta fucking shut that shit down. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck you.
Because
all of you.
like it just is indicative of the society we live in now, where they have to like they have to make an enemy out of the most marginalized people, and that's just like basically bootlicker 101. Like go for the small enemy because
they punch down. They miss comedy.
They punch down.
Punch down every time.
And that's why they're unoriginal. That's why they post pictures of like some 3D printed gun and being like, Bert would love this. Like, no, he fucking wouldn't.
No, well, let's be honest. Actually, a 3D printed gun, he might have some problems with it initially, but he would definitely buy one. He'd buy a 3D printer first of all, and then he would
be okay with that. But like the ideology behind it being like
that part, yeah,
he would probably take issue with.
It's like, hey, don't do that. My name.
But yeah,
that's kind of the fun I like to do. Like sometimes I like taking Bert a little farther left than what he would be, because I think there's a great irony that can happen. Like there's like a level of joke to that, just like that is fun to take it to that satire level that the right is missing with it. The right is doing theirs very sincerely, whereas it's like, no, sometimes I just like to push Bert all the way off the cliff over here. Like just
go far enough left to get your guns back.
Oh man. That was, I'm not gonna lie, that was the one. So like one of my accounts got zucked for like posting that meme. Like that one blew up in the group and it got the account like go bye-bye. And I was like, wow, that wasn't even that fucking violent or anything. It was just a picture of Bert with, if you go far enough left, you get your guns back. And then that was the one. I was like, wow.
See, like the thing that probably got you, like speaking as like someone who just shit posts all over Facebook, like one of the things I've noticed is you won't get in as much trouble with the memes you post with particular words, but you will get in trouble for the comments you make, or like the headers, the descriptions that you put in the caption whenever you post, because that's what they look for. And like, I don't know if you've noticed, like anytime I'm like roasting someone in the Tremor Saga group, I'll censor like my curse words strictly because I've been in situations where like I've said, like I can't even remember what it was, like I think it was like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine meme where Rose is holding the dog and she's like, "I've only had this dog for a day, but if anyone like does anything to him, I'll kill everyone in this room and then myself." And I was saying that about some character from some show. I can't even remember what it was, but like that's what got me. I don't think I got a strike because of it, but I got flagged for momentarily, and it was because it was in the meme itself, not in the description. But all it takes is just someone being like, "I'm going to report you."
Yeah, that's honestly
Like,
that's where I've
oh,
learned to only reply in memes or gifs. That's always my big like, because
yeah,
I have been just over the years so many like just like, oh my god, that was really, there was no swear. It doesn't matter, like bullying, harassment, whatever you
yeah,
get. That it's like, okay, I know that your software isn't smart enough to tell what's written on
like
this picture.
irony.
So
Or
I so I can just like, I can put a picture up, I can do a GIF, and I can do lots of stuff with those, and you have no idea. So fuck off, I win.
Yeah, the only flag I've ever gotten on Facebook, there was only one that actually stuck. It was because it was in, I think it was Memotep's mummy
Mummy
memes.
memes. That's one of my favorites.
And it was when Anoxinamone, she just like abandoned Emotep, and then she immediately trips and falls into that big pit of
Stupid
scarabs.
bitch.
And so like someone had made a meme about that, and it was just like in good fun. And I commented, "Bitches be tripping," because she literally trips and then dies. So bitch was literally tripping. And then I got a flag because I had said the word bitch. I wasn't calling anyone a bitch. I was just saying bitches be tripping, as you know, the line as it goes. And then they were like, that's bullying behavior, Rossbob Irvinpants. You cannot say stuff like that." And I was just like, okay, I'll just censor every curse word from now on. And
Every
then people
time.
will be like, "Oh, you're such a chicken shit. You won't even use curse words." I'm like, why do you care if I do that?
Yeah,
Why,
you still
why
got the
did
point.
you get the point? Why are you pointing out that I censor my own stuff? I have my reasons.
And in fact,
Uh,
you also exist on the internet with me, and you're also well aware, because like the right, like the right side does that all the time. Like, it's really, for some reason they just don't ever want to say the word fag. I'll say it out loud. I don't really like say it, but like the way they try to
yeah,
get around that, I'm
yeah,
always like,
yeah,
I thought you were fine. I didn't think that words were a problem, huh? I thought you could fucking say that word. Sorry.
So
Oh.
one of my favorite responses to that, because occasionally, like, there's one meme that people like to throw out. It's a meme of Patrick, like from the snow episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, where they're having the snow day and he's throwing snowballs with Patrick. And like anytime like I post like something LGBT like inclusive into a group that has people like that, they'll throw out the FAG line, but they won't say it. They'll post memes that are like saying it. And so it's a meme of Patrick Starr throwing a pack of cigarettes with the British flag on it. And here, let me go grab something real quick.
That's, oh my god. So just seriously, just say it for everybody listening.
So
Like, it's just
my
fucking,
response
just
to
say
that
it.
was to immediately make a meme of SpongeBob holding a pack of American Spirits, because that's the brand of
Oh,
cigarettes I wrote, and I like was making fun of him, saying like, "Whoa, I smoke American Spirits, you fucking idiot." And it, like, I love being like that, like just like because the reason they do it is because they want to hurt you. They want,
yeah.
like, they're used to like saying that, like weaponizing laugh reacts and like, you know, just like review bombing someone's page, all those things. They're used to that in the level of like it has worked in the past. And that's always been kind of like one of the things that I hold against liberals, not necessarily leftists, but leftists as well can kind of be guilty of it too, is they need to get thicker skin. And
Oh
I
yeah.
understand that there's some people who are dealt with trauma, bullying,
I
like
get it.
everything
I
of
get
that
it. I
nature.
get it. Thicker
But the
skin. For the
second
love
you
of
let
God,
them
I
get under
will
your
protect
skin, that's when they
you.
win. Like
Every
I'm
time.
always going to be the kind of person that's like, I don't give a fuck what you say about me. Don't make fun of my friends. Don't make fun of the people who are kind to me. I'm going to be kind and stick up for them because they do that for me. They're my community. So if
That's
you're
where
going to
the
come into my arena, I'm going to absolutely dogpile and just shit on you.
every time. Like that's where the we were to go back to we were talking earlier about like the 28-day suspension and the bannings and like that's where people will and honestly to that work on like how do I personally try to work on things where the whole point of the Tremor Saga group is that like right or left, I really don't care. Are you talking Tremors? Awesome, cool. Let's like let it go. And that went for so long that the right side did feel that they could just do things with impunity. And I was like, okay, look, I don't want to ban. I don't want
You don't want to give them a platform,
to
especially one that you've worked so hard to create
yeah.
as well.
And but then at the same time, then it's like, okay, well, here, look, I will personally try to take out some trash here and work on that. And then also getting from the left side, like, yeah, well, you're not doing it. You didn't delete this person fast or this person. I was in an argument with this person, and they were saying and like it was really
They were
bad. And I'm
saying
like,
such awful things. Like,
and I'm like, I have a personal policy now where it's like, so what you write as a post, if you're posting stuff, that becomes my purview, and I can do. If you're in a comment section and you start arguing with a motherfucker, I look, man, that's you guys. That is what you engaged into that social contract, as we all do. Of like, if you want to throw down with each other, throw down. That's and please do. Like, I don't fucking care. Throw down all you want. Like, and I will say this. One of my favorite things to do is when someone's being like a real like, it's always the right side when they're being a real asshole. Is then okay? Well, now I'll give you the 28-day, and then they think that they've left the last word. I will delete their last comment. So then, like,
I love
there's
that.
like a chain like going back and forth, and then the other person just like they drop their stupid shit in there, and I'm like,
That's so
delete.
fun.
And they have no idea. Nobody has any fucking idea. Just like,
Really
you look stupid. You couldn't even come up with a comeback.
That's really fun. One of the things, like, it was in a Letterkenny group that I'm in, but I don't run. I made my own Letterkenny group because of that issue, but I still don't mind posting in that group. But one of the elements of Letterkenny is they're degenerates that they call degens. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Letterkenny.
I am not. I need
And
to watch. I really want to. I haven't watched it yet, but I really need to.
yeah, watch Letterkenny and then immediately watch Shorzy. Shorzy is perhaps the best spin-off I've ever seen in my life. But
Okay.
back to Letterkenny. So there's a group called Letterkenny Shitposting 2, and like the admin there produces some really killer Letterkenny memes. But occasionally, like, I like to rock the boat, and I can't remember which meme which one was it. I was making fun of someone, and this guy was just arguing and arguing and arguing. And like you said, like when someone decides to argue with them, you're opening a somewhat of a social
It's
contract and
transactional.
whatnot.
It's
And
fluid. Yeah.
one of the reasons like moderators and admins would find me really funny and like useful in groups is I typically moderate my own content without having any moderator abilities because you're always able to just turn your comments right off. An
Yeah.
admin can turn them back on, but you're capable of turning your comments off. And this dude was just, oh my God, it was just like such disingenuous rhetoric. I can't even remember fully what the argument was about,
It
but he
never
just would
matters.
not
Vibe is
shut
there.
up
Yeah. Yeah.
until finally I was just like, I don't want you to have the last word. Turn off comments.
Yeah.
And then I left him off for like an hour and then I turned him back on. And then the dude messaged me saying, "You're such a piece of shit. Like, nice sock account, you fucking loser." Yeah. And so, like, I took a screenshot of his message and then I turned comments back on. And then I posted, like,
Oh,
"Oh, yeah, I'm so triggered that I messaged you, this, that, and the other." And it was just really, really funny to
it's so
see.
satisfying.
It's really funny to see the people that show up to be like that agree with you, like just absolutely like he's kind of right, dude. Like, why are you getting
Right.
so upset in the comments of a Facebook post, dude? And me, like, I never get, like, I get offended when someone like to a degree, like whenever I ban someone, it's usually if they're saying words that would get like a group zucked. Like if you say
Slurs.
slurs,
It's usually
yeah, like
slurs. That's my like. Okay, we gotta.
yeah,
That's my.
that's when you definitely need to delete, because that can ruin the entire group for everyone who's not being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So it's important to stay on top of those things and remove comments as
Also, I
necessary.
just that's my one. Like, really, come on. There's the we
Yeah.
gotta go to that. We gotta go to that. Will.
And yeah, they absolutely go that well, because the one thing I always notice, there's three different ways that those kinds of people will react, and it depends on the person they're talking to. If they're talking to like a white liberal, they'll be like, "Oh, well, you're just gay." And it's like,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
"Oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you got me right where it
Oh.
hurts." Or if it's a person of
Hello,
color,
my
it's like
baby.
a
Hello.
slur that like is like meant for their like
It's
type of
boy.
demographic.
It's
It's usually
boy.
something racist.
Yeah.
Or if it's like a woman, like usually like more attractive, and they'll just be like, "Well, whatever, you're ugly anyway.
Every
You
time.
would love to be with
Every
someone
time.
like me."
Yep.
And it's just like, when you see that kind of stuff so often, you start to notice the patterns, and it's really hard to take them even the slightest bit seriously, much less get offended by them, because they all say the same shit, just
Right.
in a slightly different ways. Like,
They talk
you
about
can't even
NPCs.
insult me originally.
Like, oh, y'all are NPCs, motherfucker. Do you have a script? Because I swear to God, I've seen this before.
It's like, bro, you're displaying the most NPC energy by complaining about memes. Like, you're in my comment section of my monetized Facebook page, like boosting my content, and I'm the NPC. Okay.
Man, what a life.
Yeah,
I
just
just
like
I
it's
and I have to
crazy.
say I wish I understood these people. I it has been like a fascination the last couple of years. I'm just like I need to understand you. I don't think I ever will, but I'm still strive to. Like, what the fuck? What is your brain? What is
No,
this? What are you doing? Explain yourself. What the fuck?
honestly, like I think I can give some insight. Like, do you ever watch The
Please.
Boys on Amazon Prime? The Boys.
I love The Boys and hate everything.
Such a great.
But
That's
it's
such a.
just,
I hate the fan
oof.
base. I love the show.
No, I meant just
Spoil.
like that show is hard sometimes. Like,
It's
ooh,
hard. It's yeah.
ooh.
It's a lot. But
I love
in
it. I did.
season
It's a
four,
goodie though. Yeah.
but in season four, like since it's relatively new, I'll avoid giving spoilers about it. But there's a character who's like a right wing, like super, who's
Oh
supposed to
yeah.
be kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her name's
Um,
Firecracker.
Firecracker. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
With the
and
breast
whenever
milk.
they're
Sorry, that's what
like,
I'm thinking. Sorry.
whenever another main character is talking, like she's trying to like gauge, like, why do you do this? Like, what are you getting out of this? And she's just like, I'm spreading the truth. And she's like, no, really, why are you doing this? And like she like kind of breaks her down, and then she just, all right, all right, all right. It's because these people, like, they don't mind spending a little bit of money, like giving me a little bit of money, so they have a sense of community. Like,
Yep.
they're people usually with like that have lost like their kid to like the opioid crisis, or
Yep.
lost their home in like a hurricane or tornadoes or fires. These kinds of people, they will try to find any sense of community out of desperation, and there's nothing more desirable for like a narcissist in general, and also like like a group that embodies like narcissistic tendencies that prey on those kinds of desperate people, because it's like that person is so desperate for connection that they're willing to look past like just awful things, like, well, I may not agree about
It's a
this.
cult. The best way,
it
like what you're
it
defining
really
is a
has
cult.
cult
That is,
like
yeah.
tendencies, because like people are so desperate for that sense of closeness, because they feel so like disenfranchised and like so left behind in the world, like, and sometimes through no fault of their own, that they start to fall for that propaganda, that misinformation of misplaced aggression and fault towards people who have nothing to do with the crises that they feel.
There's
And
a
I
reason
think that's kind of
Andrew
where
Tate
these,
is a terrible
like,
person. That
yeah,
like
like,
there's those people that fucking like got to go after him. Like that's
or like Charlie Kirk.
Or Logan
So like,
Paul.
I've heard Logan Paul is kind of like people are ditching him because he's getting woke because like he either just had a daughter with his wife or his wife is pregnant with a daughter, and he just kind of like went on Twitter or X or wherever he was posting to social media, and he was basically just posing the thought process of like, holy shit, I'm going to be a dad to a daughter. And I know that
Jesus
women get it
Christ.
bad. And it's like a lot of people were like, well, I appreciate you finally came around.
Last horse crosses the finish line.
It's just like those kinds of people, like, that's why, like it's really hard for me to just like try to completely shut the door on people who are more right leaning. Obviously, not like like
So
J6ers who are
that's like
storming
no joke.
capitals.
That's the whole point of like the Tremor saga itself is that like
Yeah,
I
like
having gone through all of the fandom like and seen everything, what I realized most was that there needs to be a place where all of those people can be together in like one, like all of right, left, center, everybody, because you can literally go in one fandom alone. You can go from people that would stroke off a gun and like an orgasm with it to people literally being consumed as a sexual fetish. Like, and it's fast. Like it is fucking so fascinating to me. And I have always been like, so this is why right, left, I don't care. Just everybody come here and like work together, because what you're saying, like there are those that are disenfranchised. I would rather, hey, you're gonna make some mistakes. Come under my roof. Let's like hang out and like let us teach you. We talk about Alex Piasecki earlier, where it's like, okay, I've actually spoken to him like off off the internet. It's like, okay, I see where you're going with this. I understand how you've misstepped this. I can see where you've been fed that information and there's that narrative there. So if I can take some more time and we can spend more time together, then maybe, okay, yeah, we can pull you along that way. And at the same time, maybe you'll pull me a little closer to your center. That's where the Burt Gummer subterranean meme stash guy, like very like right leaning, but I'd be like, man, you know what? Shit. That's a really good point. That kind of goes against my own beliefs, but that's a really okay, great. And then I throw in his way and we like meeting here in the middle.
Yeah, like,
Actually, while you're talking, I have a diagram to pull up. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say along the lines of one thing that I think is probably like Tremors does this very well, and I think it can be attributed to like you can kind of like write in that kind of like camaraderie that you don't typically see like in society like currently is like even the bad guys recognize, yo, I fucked up. I fucked up and I need help and what I did was wrong and this, that, and the other. Like obviously there's some who are just like they get eaten being the bad guy, but like in each movie, like any like that kind of like employs the use of like a villain, if we want to call them that. Like Bert gives them this space to recognize where they went wrong while kind of like condoning their behavior but giving them a place to recognize their mistakes and come back to be protected under his umbrage. And I think that that's one thing that a lot of us in society, like, we're so hurt by like perceived transgressions that we're willing to look past the person's humanity and how they got there. And obviously there's some people that I do believe that there's some people that can become beyond redemption.
Oh, there's bad
But
faith. There's bad faith act, like legitimately.
exactly.
Like,
But I think an important thing that we can actually learn from Tremors is if you never give someone the space to change, they probably won't. They're just going to feel vindicated that they're going further and further away because
I'm winning.
those
I'm winning.
narcissists, yeah, those narcissists are like, oh yeah, they're bad for treating you that way, and like since you're like you're being a piece of shit for what you're telling me, like they're gonna just see, my pals, you've called me a piece of shit. so much of a tolerance.
Whereas
And
if
it's
you
just
let people in and like, hey, I'm going to accept some of your faults, you're going to accept some of mine, and then we both see each other changing and growing. Okay, then that
yeah.
causes other people. It's a cascade effect of just like, oh, hey, change and growth. That's pretty awesome. Let's try that, right?
And like I think Michael Gross like put it quite clearly, like Burt Gummer, he'll slap you around and tell you where you went wrong, but he will help you.
Yeah.
And I think
Ooh, and
that's
here,
more or less what we do need to start doing to people is they need to be slapped around.
so this is great for you, Chris Andrew. The two best sci-fi or horror teams in cinema are the Perfection Group from Tremors, particularly the TV show, and the crew from Firefly. I love their connection and teamwork. Like, yeah,
Thank you so much, Chris, for that
Chris Andrew
statement.
from the Horrific Podcast. So actually,
Amazing.
I discovered a thing where like, so Tremors fans aren't really centrist most of the time. It doesn't seem like they are. So like when it comes to the bell curve, like you've got like right Tremors fans and lefty Tremors fans, and most of the time we're on these extremes, like left or right. Weirdly enough, like we circle back underneath like the bell curve and like the two sides meet. And so then like there's harmony. Like it's super like there's no Tremors fans here in the middle, but here on the sides, and then they like come together under some different part of the bell curve. It's super weird. I don't fucking understand it, but I just know that it happens. Like I have
think,
scientifically seen this shit. It's on a whiteboard.
see, I like if people were like like anytime someone thinks of themselves as a centrist, like I always notice that they tend to be more defensive of like right-wing ideology, where they're just like, I just don't like either side. Like, what a novel concept that you're too good for all this. Like, bravo for being able to
People
elevate yourself above
streets, but yeah, good job.
poor political people. Like, I feel like that's disingenuous. Whereas, like, if we had like true centrists, we would be a more functional society where we would be accepting of things that are, considered more far left. We'd be to accept like
It's Burt
personally,
Gummer. I'm sorry, you're just
yeah, Burt
describing.
Gummer.
Everybody needs to be Burt Gummer. That's all
Everyone
I'm
just
hearing
needs to
right
be
now.
Burt Gummer. We should all go to our own private island and stock up on food, MREs, petrol.
Okay, I take it back. This doesn't seem sustainable at all. Actually, this seems really. I feel like we should. Oh my god! Where's a place we can put all the Burts so they all are like together at once? Is that like is that a city? Is that a perfection? Is that a I don't know. What is this?
Like I mentioned, like Burt Gummer definitely strikes me as like he strikes me as like a good old boy, like a dying
Yeah.
breed, where like he was kind of like the last of his kind. Like in a way, he kind of reminds me of the main character of Letterkenny, where even if he doesn't like you, he's still gonna stick up for you because like you're part of his community. And like that's an element that definitely comes through in like Letterkenny and Tremors both. But where Bert is like gun heavy, like he has a very clear enemy. The main character of Letterkenny, Wayne, like he doesn't use guns, like because they're Canadian, but he like they have a lot of scraps, like Donnybrooks, like brawls, fights, where like his main objective in like the first season is he wants to be like he's the toughest guy in his small town. And like if people start messing with the status quo of his town, like like messing with the people in the town, he has no problem confronting you and then beating the shit out of you for it. And honestly, I just think that's just great. So yeah,
It
Burt
is
Gummer
great.
and Wayne from Letterkenny have a lot of similarities that
I need to watch
like.
Letterkenny. God, this has been on my list. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, here's one. Being Burt Gummer sounds exhausting. The only character I can handle being is Edgar Deems. I mean, that's fair. I mean, he dies immediately. Edgar Deems is the guy up on the tower. We don't ever actually meet him because he's dead.
The reason that they don't get to leave Perfection is because they had to get Edgar off the thing. Like that's literally the thing that stopped them from getting out.
He is
because even though they are desperate to get out, they have to stop because they know the guy.
There's so much community there. Hey, we know that it's Edgar. He only wears that one damn jacket. Oh, he's an old booze hound. We've got to help him.
Them without.
Oh my god!
Because those things, they're high up there too. Like you'd have to really be able to know who that person is.
That's a lot.
So that just goes to show their sense of community, even though they're trying to leave, is wow, shit, Edgar's up there. Let's go get him. And then they recognize he's dead, and then they're like, someone murdered Edgar. And then they stick around because they feel like they need to help. Like they can't help themselves.
Every time, and then it's like, oh, hey, Val, here, go to Bixby. Okay, this happened. We need you guys to leave. Go to, whether it's on the horses, whether it's on the car. They don't really want to, but they're like, sure. I mean, yes, I guess that's fine. There's that moment where it's like, who's best on a horse, and it does that pan over, and they just oh man. But they don't say no, because then they cut to them actually on the horse. They might be like, oh, really? Fuck. But
yeah,
they still did it. It's amazing.
That's another element that I really appreciate about Tremors is any one of them gets to be the hero in a way. Each when they're rock paper scissoring to see who gets to go run out to the field to distract the graboids, even then it's the brilliant underachiever and his friend who semi-enables him, they both want to be the one to go out to do it. They don't want the other person to get hurt.
They care about each other. That's how much as friends that they're like, no, I don't want you to go. It's adorable.
Yeah, and that element of stepping up to protect the people around you, that's an element of the show. Any one of those characters has that ability, except for maybe that doctor in Cold Day in Hell, because he was just being a chicken. But graboids are scary.
Dr. Freeze. Yeah, fuck that
Doctor,
guy.
yeah. When, what are you doing? I'm getting out of here. No, you're not.
Don't follow stupid with stupid.
That's what I definitely liked Cold Day in Hell a lot more than Bloodlines.
First got some one-liners in that. That one,
but Cold Day in Hell I enjoyed.
I waffle on it of my balls are in the Guinness Book of Balls, where it's this is odd, but you know what? There's a commitment to it that I kind of have to applaud. I
do like that commitment.
It's odd.
You gotta have big balls.
He really went for it.
He went for
it. At the first Tremors Fest, I got to watch Tremors 5 with the people who made it. One of them was Michael Gross's wife, Elsa, and she was sitting right in front of me and Caitlin. And there's that scene where he gets pissed on by a lion. He's in the cage and he gets, and it's
I did like that in Bloodlines.
There's a bunch of it's what the fuck. And I used to be oh my god, what is this? What is the comedy on this? And then I watched it in theaters with Michael Gross's wife, who is fucking cackling. She is laughing the loudest out of anybody, just getting so much joy out of this movie. And I went you know what? Okay, so if you think this is funny, this is your husband, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna agree with you. That sounds about it.
I think knowing just how campy the movies were gave me kind of a cushion or a space to allow for those really silly lines. And whenever Michael Gross would say that, I thought that line was hysterical. I thought it was
wild.
I thought it was also in a way really sweet too, because this dude who is terrified, literally shaking with fear, thinking he's gonna die, he's able to talk this coward into believing that he can make it. And of course he fumbles again when he tries to leave again. But he was able to convince this dude to grow his spine by just that line. That's hilarious to me. My balls are in the Guinness Book of World Balls. Whatnot. He's just even the guy listening to it is just
Okay,
Right?
I guess please don't eat me.
What are you saying to me? And he's just like, I'm telling you to grow balls, son. You gotta you gotta do it. And that's what I like about Bert. Like he's funny with the one-liners. He's a good character. He's a stand-up individual. And even if you're like a cowardly doctor who's running away, even then he wants to help you out.
Every time. Every time.
He wants to help everyone because he hates graboids that fucking much. It's like no one deserves to be eaten by a graboid.
People are bad, but graboids are worse. Which one? I don't know. What am I gonna pick?
Yeah, for someone who absolutely hates people, he picks them every single time.
Every time?
That's probably why he wanted to go off and be a hermit, is because he just genuinely got tired of.
I'm done with it.
I'm not interested in being around people. They cause too much trouble, and I have so much work to do.
That's always been a main complaint for me with Shrieker Island, that it's like what the concocted reason of the government in a sewer line is like, what is this? Just say that Burt Gummer just wanted to fuck off. You didn't actually have to write an explanation. A lack of explanation would have worked better than what you wrote. Just be like, he's fucking Burt Gummer. He's on a desert. Stop asking questions.
It definitely would have it could have gone without explanation. And I'm not saying the explanation is necessarily horrible.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It definitely falls within line of what Burt Gummer would have done. The federal government seized his properties, just kind of set him back to square one. He's done all of these things.
Hold on. They didn't seize his property. Nope, that's not what happened. No. They wanted to hook up a sewer line to his house. That's the reason that he states in 7 that he went off. That's where I'm like, that is such a what?
Okay, I must have missed that particular line.
No, but that's his reason. And then
that is silly.
If they can get your spore, they can get your DNA, and it's just like you're nuts.
That's a little Kool-Aid-y.
Although he could, I don't know, maybe he could. It's just more like a lack of explanation would have been better here than that. I don't know. That's a weird. It would have odd one to go with.
Yeah. That kind of trivializes his intelligence in a way.
That's my problem with it.
It would have been the reason I thought that's why he did is because I think I just kind of I probably heard it was that's kind of stupid.
What you said makes sense of just the government's taking his property and they're pushing him away, and Perfection's getting more civilized of him obviously he'd go away then. So that's what I see where you're coming from. That's where I had to get that correction.
That's why I thought it happened, because I think I just probably filled in a gap that I had missed.
Look, one of us has been watching the movies for maybe a month now. And that person
there's some grace that I get.
How dare you not know everything about this 35-year-old series? This is okay. Look, I gotta give you an out because I know you said 2.5 hours, and we're honestly both having fun.
I just noticed that we're closing in on 3.
We should be responsible adults and wind this down. Although I love talking, you're honestly, I've been having a blast.
If we want to end it at an even 3 hours, I think you do have a couple more questions if you want to.
Oh no! Again, we maybe did 3 of them.
Well, yeah. How about you pick a couple of 2 or 3 of your favorite questions that you really did want to ask, and
you brought it up early. Okay, you brought it up earlier, so this was really the only one that you hit on that we didn't talk about. Honestly, I didn't need to ask questions because you kept hitting the topics as you were going back and forth. I was very impressed by you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is a 2-folder. Are memes art?
Yes.
And then I have another, and then are memes propaganda?
Yes.
Okay, I was expecting more. Fine. Okay.
I'll go further into it.
No, I mean, you don't have to. My next one was, who is the piss post AI. I wanted more lore on the piss post AI. It's fascinating to me. I just like that was such a. I
Okay.
love it. I mean, you
So-
don't have to. It's just like
No, I
what
don't. I
is
don't
this?
mind going. I'm not going to plug that group because that's more of a safe space for friends. But so one of the for context, one of the groups that I admin, a friend of mine created. That group itself got created because another one of the admins made a joke about having a UTI and that they had flaming hot piss. And so it was basically a running group inside joke for a long time. And so we ended up making a separate group that was basically like a backup group. And then we just all kind of migrated there and just that's how that joke got taken off. As for the AI bot, what was funny was since Meta, the company that owns Facebook, is rolling out their AI
That fucking AI.
capabilities and whatnot.
I turned
Like a
that fucking
bunch of
feature
different
off.
groups
Like, oh
have
my god.
AI bots to encourage people to interact with it, like boost engagement, like all this. In my opinion, I think it's not great. But
It's
one thing you can do as an admin is you can modify the bots and give them prompts of how to act and this, that, and the other. And so for that group, the actual AI bot, I changed its settings to be it hates capitalism, hates bigotry, all these things, is super leftist as a joke, and Meta approved it. So that's where the joke really started. But one of the things I noticed, especially going into 2025, was there was a super big decline and people wanting to exercise their artistic expression, in particular meme making. And that particular group, a lot of my very, very good friends are in there, and I was just missing shooting the shit with them, having meme battles. That particular group is just the creme de la creme of shit posters, in my opinion. Very funny people, but I was missing them, and everyone was just kind of under the radar because a lot of them feel unsafe in today's climate. And so the reason the AI bot became an arc, one of my good friends in there, his name Frank Meme.
Frank
Uh,
Meme. I got that one written down. And Rat Pussy.
yeah, funny enough, he and Rat Pussy, they're actually a couple, and they met through meme making, which is just one of the reasons I like memes so much, is because you can actually find community and camaraderie through it, and find your tribe essentially. And so when I noticed that there was such a steady decline, I was pretty much the only person that was adminning that group, posting memes in that group. And I'd have other members and other admins being like, man, it's I'm impressed that you kept that group going, because I just had no energy, no mental space
It's a
to
lot.
be in that.
It's a lot.
And the way I saw it is well, all right, I'll make enough memes for all of us. And so I was talking to Frank about it, and I told him hey, the group has an AI bot now. And he's like, that's weird. I was like, how would you feel about pretending to be the AI bot? And he was like, that is the best idea I've ever heard. And so he took the profile picture of the actual AI bot, and then he made a fake account, and then I made him an admin again under that account. And lo and behold, I basically made it out to be I'm training the AI to be a shit poster, and he's gonna be better than all of you. This, that, and the other. And
for the
then
longest time, I thought it was real. I was legitimately hold on. Can AI make memes now?
That's the funny thing. AI cannot make memes. That's why
I'm
every
aware.
time I see
I've learned
them now,
this.
In most groups, even in that group, it'll be what pop culture do you feel encouraged you to be the person you are? And that no one comments on it at all. That's the level that AI actually is capable of in shitposting
I know, but
groups is
I can
trying to
hope
start
and dream.
conversations. But yeah, I convinced him to start making memes again by pretending to be the AI to convince more people in the group that they're getting replaced by AI, so they'd want to
Jesus
make more.
Christ.
And like some of the other admins were in on the joke, but sure enough, like really it just takes like one simple arc like that to just like kind of get people to be like, well, this is fun. I
Yeah.
want
Oh
to
yeah.
make memes again. Like that's like the thing you want though is you want people to be having fun. You want them to feel safe. And if you
Yes.
create those spaces for people to express their creativity where they feel safe, they feel like they're having fun, creativity flourishes in those spaces.
That's a
So
win for everybody too.
yeah,
Like that is a win for
that's
both
how the
sides. Like that's not like it,
that's how Piz Post came to be.
that is adorable. Oh my god. I did, like I said, legitimately thought that AI had like come to life and made a meme account.
And
I was
that's
kind of
why
behind
also
it too. I was
and
like,
that's
you know what?
why I think that
I'm fine
memes
with
are
this.
both artistic and propaganda as well. Like they
Yeah.
serve a purpose. Like I've known of like shit posters I don't even like who like I found out like holy shit like Donald Trump Jr. shared one of your memes. Like I hate that dude, but that's kind of impressive. Like someone
That
that high
counts.
up, like you're not like you never know who's gonna come across your meme and share it. Like I'd mentioned Dropout and Game Changer recently, and there's a person in the Dropout universe by the name of Erika Ishii. They are a cast regular, but they're also the voice of the new Ghost of Yote, the upcoming video game,
Oh
like
yeah.
a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
The woke one.
And
Yes, I'm aware.
yeah, the woke one that no one wants to play, but
Yeah.
honestly, in my opinion, it looks so badass, and I love Erika Ishii. But I had made a Game Changer Ghost of Yote crossover meme, and I had posted it on Blue Sky, and Erika Ishii saw it and responded to it, and I'm just like,
Oh, score.
Erika Ishii liked my meme, and like I was on cloud nine for like a full week after that because like I very much respect like everyone in like Dropout because they're very creative and they're very thoughtful in the content they create. So like you never know if like hell like Michael Gross could be watching this podcast right now and like
Hi, Mike.
or
How you
could like
doing?
see some of the memes that we
He
make
does
and
follow me
appreciate
on
them.
Instagram. It's super weird. I don't know how to feel about that sometimes.
Oh
I'm
come on,
just like,
Michael Gross. Don't be
that's
gross.
fine. So hey, actually, hold on. We're 3 hours in. Actually, immediately. Nobody else knows this, but Michael Gross is actually in the Facebook group. Like he just like he's in there as his personal page, and I always just kind of like wonder like. Does he lurk? Is he like really like floating
I
around in there?
honestly like
And it's him. I
I'm
know it's him. I know the profile. It is legitimately him.
That's
And I'm just like,
amazing to begin with. But
oh
yeah,
my
if I
god,
were in
oh
his
my god.
position, I would definitely lurk because the last thing you'd want is to like draw attention away from the content by making it about yourself. And I
By
think
having people worry about it and stuff. There's actually
yeah,
there's a good like portion of the Tremors cast and crews from all of the movies that are in that Tremor Saga group. Like I
that's
have
amazing.
like personally invited that, and I'm always just like wondering like,
I wonder if they've seen
so
this.
yeah, and it's actually good because I would say about 95% of them are all very on the left side of that spectrum. So I can imagine. Okay, just I wonder what they think. Is this a positive? Is this a negative? So I do sometimes with the ones that I know that are like in the group. I try to be a little bit more like respectful. I don't like there's thoughts that I have sometimes that I do keep just like, well, maybe not post that one. Maybe later. Maybe at a certain time, I'll figure that one out. To the point. Okay, so there is in Tremors the series. There's a scene where the main female character jumps into a water tank and she's wearing a wet t-shirt. She's wearing a white t-shirt, and
That's a choice.
she jumps into a water tank, gets out, and she's in this wet white t-shirt with no bra, and there's a whole full scene of her yelling in Spanish while her tits are just like going up and down. Oh my god. And I'm always like, it's such an image that's really, it's great for memes, but I'm like, Gladys is in this group. I'm actually good friends with Gladys. You know what?
Like you don't want
I
to be
have ideas.
disrespectful in that way. get that.
I have ideas sometimes, but it's just like, I don't know if I want to do that one. Maybe later. Maybe when nobody's looking, I'll post that one. But it does. You're just like, it makes you worry. We're like, oh my god, is that?
Yeah,
are
it
they
definitely
actually gonna see?
makes you feel a little bit more introspective. Like I'm not like I don't typically think that the people who are like the subjects of my meme really see them, but occasionally, yeah, like uh Mustafa, I think his name is Mustafa Ashikur, and Amelia Perel, like the people who are in the live action Cowboy Bebop, the ones who play
Oh, okay.
the main crew. I had made a Cowboy Bebop meme because I did like the live action for it, and so like I went on Instagram and I posted one and I tagged Mustafa and uh Faye, and both of them responded to it.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, like, whenever it comes to if I'm really like making an effort, like if I want someone to see it, I have no problem tagging them and being like, "Hey, I hope you like this. I made this for you. Like, I thought y'all did a great job on the Cowboy
Right. Well, and
Bebop
that's
live action,
I
and I
always like to
appreciate
go
your
back to
efforts."
that positivity thing. It's so I used to I'm a big fan of Harmontown. You ever like there's a podcast called Harmontown with Dan Harmon,
I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
and there's a subreddit for it, and Dan and Jeff and Spencer used to like hang out on that subreddit until people just didn't understand that the people that they're talking about are also in the same goddamn room with them, and you're like, that's and it taught me a long time ago, just like always just assume that the person that you're talking about is going to see the thing that like you're going to say about.
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Like,
matter how famous they are, except for I will say this: George R. R. Martin is stupid. Anyway, moving on.
I can agree with that.
I
Just
don't
give us
I don't
the
like the
books,
man.
George. Just give us the books.
I've had to deal with him twice for Tremors Fest, and I'm just not a fan. But you should just always assume that the person's there. So treat that conversation, and you can like have critiques and be very honest and forthwith, and say things that
Absolutely.
are harder, but just also be aware of like what and that goes to non-famous people. Like if I was making a Rossbob meme, I'd like want to make. Sometimes I make memes and I'm trying to tag like Comrade Burt Gummer or Earl, and it's like I even think about, well, what's the facial expression? I want to make sure that those people are portrayed in that positive light. Like it's it's
I
this
get that as
constant
well.
like, okay, we can
Like
work it work it there.
definitely no, I definitely understand exactly where you're coming from, but I have a different kind of introspection that I
How
at it
dare
from.
you have a different viewpoint, you bastard!
One of the things that I can be critical of myself about when making memes is like one time I got accused of digital blackface because like in a community group, like like I like to like use memes as a way to like kind of tell a new story about things. Like
Yeah,
if I'm the person that I like the person, like my brain works in references and movie quotes, and that's what I really
I've
love
seen
about
it.
meme
You and I have
making.
done it for 3 hours.
That's what I love about meme making is because like the people who understand that context, like it feels like that drives home a point like much better.
There's a story on top of a story on top of a
Yeah,
story. Like
it's
you're using
very
someone else's
subtextual,
like, oh yeah.
and like I feel like that can drive home points that can be harder to make, especially in memes, because you only get like a couple panels to really get your point across.
Yeah.
Like and like I remember one time I don't even think I had made the meme. I think I just shared it from like one page to another page, but it was essentially like someone was like like portraying Troy in the episode where they're like talking about how they fighting about fighting, and like his nose starts bleeding. He's like, ah! And it was about the episode that got removed from either Netflix or Hulu,
The Dungeons and
because
Dragons
the Dungeons
one.
and Dragons
Yeah.
episode, because Chang was portraying Dark
A
Elf.
drow. It's a drow.
The
It's not.
drow
He's
with,
not in
like,
blackface. It's a
yeah,
drow.
like, well, to be completely honest, like he's wearing
It's-
blackface,
It's-
but the context of it is important. And so for a long time, that group was arguing about the validity of it being removed, like how people of color weren't really, like, didn't have an issue with it, and it got removed anyway, this whole thing. So it just cascaded into arguments about arguments, and like someone just like kind of took all the talking points from like several months, if not years, of people arguing about that, and put it in that meme where Troy's like,
I see. Yeah, I see where this is going.
and so like someone accused me of like using digital blackface because like on the meme that another person created, mind you, said me over Troy, and since I'm melaninly deprived,
Oh my god.
like
Oh
they
my
said,
God.
like it was some disingenuous dumbass who was just
my
like,
god.
wow, digital blackface. And I'm just like, oh fuck, I kind of did that a little bit. And so
Look, that
ever
is
since
not
then,
fair.
I've tried to
Oh my
be.
god. No,
It's
I'm
digital
putting a line in
blackface.
this-
No, like
Jesus
what
Christ.
I had done obviously wasn't digital blackface, but like if you go on Facebook or wherever and you like have your profile, if you're trying to fool people into believing you're a different race, that I feel is like falls
That's
within
actually
the lines
digital
of
black.
digital
Sorry, I'm
blackface.
just like, what the fuck?
But like it gave me enough like I didn't think that I had made that transgression, but it definitely made me consider the characters that I cast people in whenever I do it. Like I have a lot of trans friends, and I don't like casting people as like big burly men if they're trans, like a trans woman, or vice versa for like our trans brothers. And so like I take those things into account because I genuinely want someone to feel appreciated whenever I add them into it. Or if I'm making fun of them, I really just don't give a shit how they feel. But like in terms of like the piss group, like that's a lot of the appeal, I feel like, is people like being cast in memes in that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a
Like,
freedom to it.
like that community meme that I made where like I had tagged you and the comrade Burt Gummer.
Oh
and
yeah,
where it's
yeah.
Abed being like, this is the greatest thing I've ever
Thing
seen.
I've ever seen.
like people enjoy positivity, like, and like having a camaraderie of like, hey, I like that thing too. I like community. I like Tremors.
Sharing.
They,
We
like,
all like that. Everybody likes that. Hey, you
yeah,
have that.
and
That's
like
cool. Like that sharing. Yeah.
that's the other side of meme making that I also really enjoy, is because like I was having this discussion with actually one of the moderators for the community group that I had tagged in that meme. And we were talking about how meme making and shit posting was in a lot of ways like stand-up comedy, like digital graffiti, propaganda, like this, that, and the other. But really, sometimes it just kind of feels like very, very niche, long form improv.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh my god. Yeah. I have to stop myself for sometimes because, like I was saying earlier, I like smartness in my memes, and I really want to hit that point where I'm just like making a full ass story with like 20 different fucking images, like would change. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but my urge is just like, oh, I could. I mean, maybe I would. I don't know. Maybe I could. Why not? Why not? Stop me.
In the community group, there's actually a term for the long form ones where it's like panel by panel rather than like a template with like the most like panels I can put into a single like framed meme is 8 with the software I use. But the way to circumvent that is like you literally just get screenshot, and then you post like the multi-picture memes. They call them the MM or MM memes. standing for multi-panel meta memes. And so like I always think those are really really funny because like there's effort that goes into that.
Oh yeah, that's
And
what's stopping me. Is I'm like,
it's
oh, I
so
could.
like especially like the community people because they really pride themselves on being very meta humor because it's Dan Harmon as
That's
well.
what he does. That's what he
And
does.
there's one person in there, I think they go by the name Tim, but instead of I, it's
The way you
S.
said, you say Tim.
Tim.
You know,
Tim.
just the way.
But
Some
they have an
people may
X
call
instead of
me
I.
Tim.
Tim. But like they would make just these really, really cleverly made, intricate multi-panel memes. That's just like you don't mind that it's like 50 pictures in one post.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm reading a saga right now, and this is
Yeah.
brilliant.
I had one there was a Chasing Amy meme I was reading this morning about like gender presentations, and it was 20 of them, and I read every single fucking one. It was just like it was Ben Affleck and the other girl on the swing like talking back and forth, and I was just like, I'm reading all of this. Like I don't fucking care. Yeah, fine. This is too long, but is it too long? Because I'm reading it. So fuck off.
It's compelling, and like that's what I do appreciate. Like I've made a couple of those like types of format memes, but it's not my particular niche. Like me, like I'm happy with like the most panels I'll have in one that I make is usually like 8. And so after that, then the template, like the framing gets really wonky.
Physically, it's harder to like zoom
like
in.
like I use polish for my meme making, and then it's just like, well, why does my template look like you want to make a star out of it? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, like that's one of the reasons why I do think of memes as art and propaganda and influential is because it really is kind of like modern day hieroglyphics where there is a certain context that you help you understand them more. Like if you understand Letterkenny or understand Tremors or understand Community, those jokes drive home faster if you understand it. But if you do it right, like it can even make people be like, well, hell, like I kind of want to check out that show now.
Yep.
Like I was actually talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, and like we were talking about memes and whatnot, and she had mentioned like, yeah, that's one of the things that I appreciate about your posts is because like the way I post in that main group that we've been talking about, I love that group because it's non-specific. I can post literally any kind of meme I want.
It's
It
some
can
random
say
shit
whatever.
in there. I appreciate it.
It's so eclectic that, and I don't have to worry about it tying into the theme of the group because there is really no theme as much as it is about, hey, we like to post memes, we like to like mess around with each other, like roast each other, uplift each other as well. And whenever that's the theme of the group, you don't have to worry about the content that you're pulling from to make the meme, which is why like I enjoy that type of meme making because it's more about like what reference ties in with the feeling I'm feeling right now.
It's art. It's legitimate art. Like the
Yeah,
purest form of express. I love ranting about this on the show. Like that meme making is like the purest form of expression to me. Like it is taking something you love and stating how much you love it and that you want to share it with other people. So you're trying to make it into a digestible package for other people to take
exactly.
and enjoy and like, oh, that's so like you are share like whether or not and it's a way that it's not a part of you in the sense that I didn't make Tremors, you didn't make Letterkenny, but you get so much enjoyment.
Yes.
It's part of you, and you're
Like,
sharing a little bit of like your love with other people. I love it. I love it. So it's so nice.
yeah,
It's
I was
beautiful.
actually thinking about this earlier today. It had nothing to do with like our like us like doing this, but it was because I was actually watching Firefly, and like I'm recognize like as I've gotten older, I've recognized the influences that these characters of all these different shows they have an influence on you. Like you want to aspire to be like the Malcolm Reynolds, the Burt
Yeah,
Gummers,
fuck
and the
yeah.
Waynes from Letterkenny, because like they have ideals that resonate with you. That's why you enjoy the shows and the movies, because like it's kind of like that what's that term, like Luke Skywalker is one. It's where you basically get to live vicariously through the main character, by like you have like a plain-ish kind of main character. Like there's a term for it. I wish I could remember it,
I
but
just
I
want to
think
say Blank Slate or Gary Stew, but those aren't right.
I
That's
think
incorrect.
Blank Slate is one of them, but I think you get where I'm coming from with it.
Yeah.
And
It's
like
why Master Chief he wears a
you
helmet
don't see, yeah,
so that
that's
we can be in
exactly.
his shoes. Yes.
So yeah, like I think that over the course of like many years of watching all these things, that's like I mentioned it earlier, like almost every movie, every show, like it one like all of them have like ideals that they're trying to like drip feed you. And I think that's a concerted effort on the part of like writers and artists and whatnot, where it's not necessarily that they're trying to force feed you to be a good person. They're showing you examples of how a good person or an honorable person would behave in these different like stories and archetypes and whatnot. And so it gives you like a role model to aspire to be. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about like having such a wide a range of pop culture, especially in our society, because like pretty much every single show is just trying to tell you, hey, everyone's got their shit going on. Just try to be a good person.
Just try to be a good person. It's pretty
Just try to
simple.
be a good person. Like be someone that people trust enough to go to in a way. Like don't be one of those people that is just like, you know, not necessarily the villain, but like the
Don't be an
Melvins.
asshole. Yeah, I was gonna say
Don't
it's
be a
pretty
Melvin.
easy. Chris over here says, "What I like about memes is that they are connected to the earliest Americans, such as Ben Franklin's political cartoon, where he said, 'We must hang together, or we will surely hang separately.'" And
Thank you for
that
that,
goes to the
Chris.
propaganda, like it's
Uh,
the pamphlets. There's
one of
meme
my
wars. There's a reason for this.
biggest influences, his name is Thomas Nast. He was the propagandist, the political cartoonist who brought down Boss Tweed back in New York, back in like I want to say the mid to late 1800s. But he like there's a very great drunk history episode about him, where like the person who's telling the story is saying, like I don't know if you've ever watched Drunk History, but
Oh,
it's
that's a goodie.
love
I
Drunk
haven't seen the
History.
episode you're talking about, but it's a goodie.
I love that episode because the person telling the story is really breaking it down for us, and like as Boss Tweed, she's like regaling how that person used to act. He loved the uneducated, he loved that people couldn't read, and the reason he hated Thomas Nast so much is because these political cartoons painted a picture better than any like New York Times could ever articulate to these uneducated people. They see the picture, oh, he's holding money bags. Is he stealing our money? And like that kind of artistic expression holds a special place for me, because I feel like our literacy rate has gone down significantly. Our education, like we're literally dismantling our Department of Education. So memes kind of feel like that kind of feel like those political cartoons that brought down people like Boss Tweed. And like the only downside of it is literally anyone can make a meme. And like they get shared regardless of
That
whether they're
means
right or
we got to
wrong.
make more. We got to teach people. We got to make more. Like that's
And that, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, are non-binary folk as well. That's why we do it. We can't
that's.
let the dipshits win, because if they win, then we all fail.
Look, I'm gonna keep making my memes smart as possible. I'm not gonna actually, except for that gay one. Like I said, valid girl.
That's
Gay.
art.
That's just art.
That's just art.
Oh my god! Oh, I gotta write it down. Valid girl. Gay.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we can do. Let's do one more question, and then I think we
No,
can wrap.
no. Look, Ross. I'm gonna be your friend right now, and I'm gonna let you. We're not gonna do another question besides
That's
me
fair.
saying, "Is there anyone you want to?" Because we're both gonna get off topic. I know we are. We're
That's
both having
true.
too much fun. I know if I ask a question, we're gonna be at 4
We'll go
hours. I
into
know.
we'll go into a long conversation. Like it's already
Which
20 minutes past
look,
3.
and I'm saying that because I'm like, man, I do. Oh my god, I could, but I'm gonna be responsible, and I'm gonna not do that.
That's fair.
But I will. So the only, I didn't say this before we started, but the way the show works is that we do end with the guest last word. So however we end up here, you'll want to end it. But I do want to say like thank you beforehand and like talking to you. This has been I would go for another 3 hours. So that's where this is.
Yeah, this has been an enormous amount of fun. I love talking about anything.
That's where it was like
That's why we
I
went.
gave up on
We
questions.
went an
I was
extra
like,
30 minutes.
no, we're just okay. I see that's going there. We'll just, you know what? Fuck the questions. The questions are gone. They're over here. They're away.
So like, as for we got.
Oh wow! And here, hi
one more
Fred.
question.
What? No,
Thank you, Chris.
no, guys.
Hi,
guys,
Fred. Cult
no,
of Body
hi,
thank you now.
hi, Cult. Honestly, that's a great show too. If you wanted to listen to one, that's my friend Odd over
Yeah,
there.
I saw the Cult of Odd episode too when y'all were talking.
Yes,
I think it was about a month or two ago.
that was. Oh my God, was it? Life has been really weird.
It's
We went out to
been
California.
coming hard
It
and
was a lot.
fast.
It's gonna be a lot. But no, not one more question. Besides to say, like, thank you to everybody. Obviously, thank you to Cultivad and Chris and Daphne was in the chat and Alex was in the chat and Afro Pugsley was in the chat. Thank you guys, all of you. It was a quiet night. And Comrade Perfection was in the chat. It was a quiet night. Honestly, I don't even think it was a quiet night. I think there was tons of people lurking and they were just really enjoying our conversation. The chat, it happens to me all the time where like when I'm getting poignant or making really good thoughts, the chat will stop. And when I'm just here by myself, it is terrifying.
They want to keep you company too.
I'm just like, guys, you have to say something. Like, I know I'm being serious. You have to say something. They're like, oh yeah, we know, but like we just really liked what you were saying. I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I'm assuming that's probably what happened here tonight. So thank you again.
Yeah, like Chris is even saying, great conversation, guys. Thanks.
Damn
hey,
it!
tell me about
Damn
the Kevin Bacon pie. We're going to be wrapping up, and I will say this. I got to where I'm sitting right now on this lovely show, having had no prior knowledge of Tremors. But just like in Tremors, like when people need help, you help them. Whenever you see people that just like people you should stick up for, just do it. Because it doesn't matter if you've seen Tremors, it doesn't matter if you've seen Community, it doesn't matter if you've seen Letterkenny. You can make memes out of literally anything, because the point of memes isn't just to, regale of an old show. It's about getting your beliefs out there as well. Because like one of the memes that I did make in Tremors before I had watched it was Earl and Val, and like I was portrayed as Earl, and I made him say like, hey, now that I've been in this group for a little bit, I think I might just consider watching Tremors. And then Val's character is saying, you make Tremors memes without having even seen Tremors. And then as Earl I had said, well, plenty of transphobes make memes about trans people even though they've never met a trans person. And then it's Val's face like, huh? And that's really the best advice I can give anyone for meme making is be yourself. Like, don't let those dipshits who would make fun of trans people win. Because if our trans brothers and sisters and they thems are going to go down, then you're going to go down with them. That's how fascism works. That's who they always go after first. And it's important to stick up for your community and for the people who need it. And with that, I will go ahead and say, like, thank you for having me as well. And thank you to everyone in the chat for your questions and your comments. And this has been a delight. I hope we can do it again. We'll do Newcomers episode 2. The Aftershock.